Hey everybody, this is Johnny Beane, and I think we're here. Are we
I
live?
think so. That was abrupt.
Whoa! Yeah, I know, man. I know. I got to work on my fade outs. What day is it? May 2nd, 2020. It's about midnight 03 Eastern Time, 9:03 Pacific. And before I forget, you guys, we have channel members here.
Yes.
We appreciate everybody. I appreciate all of you. But the channel members are they're dedicated, man. They're dedicated, and we've got
click
executive producers like Charles Green, Mike Neese, Robbie Johnston, Connor Johnson, 5150, Music Therapy Labs, David Ennis, Michael Smith, and some Dave Dude. Thank you so much, you guys.
Awesome.
And also, this is a podcast. So let's say you watched last night's show with Billy Sheehan, and you're like, man, that was amazing. But now I just want to listen to it, in the car. You can. It's on Spotify. It's on iHeartRadio. It's on iTunes. It's on Stitcher. It's on TuneIn.
Awesome.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's all over the place. So make sure to check that stuff out and subscribe. You can subscribe to the channel here. I don't know how many subscribers we got last night. At least 20 or 30.
Yeah, I think
at least
at some point you were close to 200 people watching live. And
no, we were over 200.
Over 200. Okay.
Yeah.
Did Billy stream it on his website?
He was going to share. He was going to share everything.
Right.
He was going to share all the links and stuff. So Billy, if you see this, thank you again so much, man. And he will be back. He will be back.
Couldn't have been a nicer guy. You guys did a great job.
Really had a good time. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Those guys are so open and available now. Like that's the great thing about what this has become. And obviously everybody doing these Zoom meetings and Zoom happy hours and all that crap. These guys are dying for interaction. That's what they do for a living. They're musicians. They want to be on stage. They want to interact with people. They hate being cooped up. It's like an animal in a cage for those guys. So it's awesome that they made themselves available and that Billy was so good.
Very gracious.
Sharing all that stuff. Yeah. I love the fact that he did it in the luxury confines of his garage.
I know. That was, just hanging out with Billy in his garage. That was one of the best parts of it.
That was amazing.
His jam room,
Yeah.
Or his
and all the jamming that he was doing. And it was incredible.
And his love for, Rotosound strings and stuff and talking about, and it was great because brilliant salesman as well, talking about how he's got this new signature bass coming out and stuff like that. And then he sort of segues nicely into the Rotosound strings and the story behind it going, when I saw my favorite bass player back when I wanted to play what they played. I'm like, oh, Billy.
Oh, he's been doing that for a year. He's been probably one of their longest endorsees for a long time.
No, but he's so good at it. He's very genuine and doesn't make it seem like you're being pitched to.
Well, he's got doesn't he have his own signature strings? Does he? Or I
don't know that he does. He was plugging Rotosound pretty hard.
Oh,
maybe it was the ads. Maybe back in the 80s, I remember seeing the ads for those strings and seeing of course, seeing his picture on them. But I'm thinking there was Rotosound strings that had his picture on them at some point.
Maybe, yeah.
There's the picture,
which I'm sure there would have been.
He's holding the strings there. You can't see it on the thing, but looks like he's doing that.
Yeah.
And you think about that guy. Think about how long he's been doing this at a high level. Like not many people are able to maintain the kind of high level that he has and the amount of bands that he's been in. Like I always goof on Portnoy, who Billy plays with in Winery Dogs. I always goof on Portnoy because he can't stay in a band for more than 2 weeks. But Billy's kind of the same way. Billy has been in 9,000 bands as well, but he gets a pass for whatever reason because they're like, oh, Billy's in the band. Like if Billy Sheehan is in the band, people go, oh, this band must be good. Because
instantly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because there's a certain level of brilliance that he brings to every project.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and he seems like he's got to keep
great.
himself busy too. He's definitely,
yeah,
looking in every direction that he can go in, from classical to jazz, all of it.
Yeah, I mean I don't own any niacin stuff, but I understand it's great.
Hey, Rich. Yeah. Great stuff. That was, yeah. I don't know. I'm still. I feel so bad because there were so many people in the chat asking so many questions.
Yeah, it was,
and we couldn't possibly get to even half of them. We couldn't. Right. We couldn't. I was getting text messages. I was getting messages through my Facebook, messages through like every which way. I got a postcard in the mail today with questions on it.
Ask
you know. Okay, that was a joke. But
I don't know, because I believe you, because John, you say everything with such sincerity that it's easy to believe.
Right. Deadpan.
Yeah. But no. And so, like I said, he will be back, and we will get to everybody else's questions. So
awesome.
Yeah. Yes. And I reached out to some other people today. So
can you tease?
I'd rather not.
Okay, then.
In case they say hell no.
Well, that's my job as a radio guy, as an interviewer. I'm like, okay, come on, gonna get you to give me more.
Oh, yeah. No, but two of the people I reached out to, actually, I am friends with, so that probably will help.
Sure.
So,
yeah, the last few weeks of guests have been really great with Skolnick and Billy, and what we're looking forward to next week is that Renoff next week.
Greg Runoff is next Friday. Yeah.
Another nice guy.
Yeah, he's been on here before. But that was like when Van Halen Rising came out. So however long ago that was, it was a while ago.
Yeah, like 14 or 15.
It was a while. It was a while. Yeah. But we've been in touch, all the time. So that'll be great. And no, last night, the past week or couple weeks, and especially last night, I mean, that's raising things to a whole new level, So
this gives you an opportunity to sort of springboard the show. I mean, obviously, while everybody is sort of locked down, they're way more available. So if you can lay the groundwork now, when everything gets back to normal, they're going to be like, I remember when that guy was there when I needed somebody to help plug my gear and plug my gigs and stuff like that, and sort of keep me in touch with the fans. So this is a good opportunity. Again, there's a bright side to every story, and this is an opportunity for you and all like you, like what Nesdal and Jason McNamara and everybody that does a stream every week. It's a great opportunity to establish these things. As I've said multiple times on this show, everybody seems to be doing this right now. Not many people can do it well. And you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
And also, everybody's coming out of the woodwork asking me how I do this. Like, technically, what am I doing? So I'm actually helping. Well, no, I'm not doing that. But
no, I'm just saying, Johnny Beane Media.
Yeah,
Johnny Beane Media, Johnny Beane Productions.
Yeah, well, I'm working. I'm working on all that
technical
stuff.
Advisor.
I'm working on all that stuff. But no, I'm actually helping a lot of friends. I'm helping a lot of friends that are asking me how to do this. Right. I'm doing a lot of calls with a lot of people, and doing other shows with other people. Helping them, getting them ready, or to do this kind of thing.
Paul, you've been doing that too. You had a busy week.
Yeah, I mean, between Mancuda on Tuesday and then Jason McNamara on Wednesday. If you haven't had a chance to check that out, go to his page, his channel, and check out. We talked to Dave Amato from REO Speedwagon and Ricky Phillips from Styx. And those guys hung around for like 3 hours. I mean, and it was cool. They there was a point where Jason, and it's his show, Jason and his buddy, it's Dave, I believe is the guy's name that normally does it.
Dave Birch.
And Dave wasn't available. So thanks to our friend Jay Hannon, I got tagged in. They went to the bullpen and pulled out the left-hander. and got a chance to hang out with those guys. And again, very similar to what you did with Billy Sheehan last night. Two very gracious guys who really didn't have to give the amount of time that they did, and yet so giving, so like open and able to talk to everybody. I think that's the great thing about the internet right now is, and it started with Twitter before everybody started doing video conferencing and stuff. It gives you that direct connection with the artist. You don't have to go through a tour manager. You don't have to go through a record label guy. You can get right to the artist themselves, and they will be honest and open and don't care about whatever the agenda is, because they have nothing to sell other than their own skill.
Yeah. As long as they're down to earth, I mean, and they're willing to, to spend a couple hours with fans and, with, fellow bassists, guitarists, whatever it may be, it's, if you're that type of, I mean, I can see, there's a lot of them that probably wouldn't want to, that are reclusive enough, but,
no, I was stoked to be part of those things and flattered to be asked to do it. And it was just, it's been cool. It's been a busy week. Because this is what I do for a living every Monday through Friday in the morning from 5 to 10 a.m. in the morning. I'm actually on the radio in Phoenix, Arizona, for those in the chat that don't know. So to get together in the afternoon and do one of these streams and do the same thing I do in the morning is sort of second nature. It's kind of fun to be able to do it because what else do I have to do?
There you go.
You could be sleeping.
I do, actually. I sleep in between. Like I get off. You think I'm kidding? I get off the air. We get off the air at 10. I'm usually in bed before noon if I can, and then I sleep till like 4. And then my partner and I do a show call, like a production call at like 4:30, and that usually lasts a half hour. Sometimes it can last longer, but we do that for about a half hour or so. And then from 5 until 9 or 10 o'clock, I'm sort of on my own, doing my own thing, whether I'm working in my studio or playing guitar or whatever it is. And then back to bed at 10 and back up again at 3 a.m. So yeah, I sleep. I sleep in weird times. I take 2 naps.
Yeah. That's cool.
Sleep
and I got to leave. I got to have time to drink too. There's got to be time to drink.
And there you go.
Man.
Cheers. Paul and I are having a.
I was telling
Johnny's
you.
got his tea. Johnny's got his tea.
Yeah, well, this cup is water right here, and then this cup is tea. Yeah.
Water.
Told you guys, I lost 13 pounds because of this quarantine thing. Because there's no fast food, no Taco Bell, no O'Doul's,
home cooked
or whatever. Yeah. Look at this. This shirt was a little tight on me a while back.
We're gonna start you on the steroids now, Johnny. Gotta get you on the roids, get you fucking yoked. By the way, question from Janice Lala. Yes, you can stream the radio show at kslx.com. Blatant plug.
Nice.
Now I noticed you guys are you guys on 100.7?
We are, yeah. And actually,
is that the classic rock station across the country? Because I know the local classic rock station here is 100.7.
I actually worked at that station in the early 90s.
Sure.
Yeah, and we were actually owned by the same company at one time. So ironically or coincidentally, they were sister stations. The logos are very, very similar. If you look at the way the call letters are laid out. The one in Boston is WZLX. It's 100.7. And the one out here is KSLX 100.7. And they were both owned by a company called Cook Inlet Radio Partners. They were Eskimos out of Alaska that owned these radio stations and eventually got bought up when the telecom bill hit in the early 90s. But they were owned by the same company at one time. So it's really weird that I started at one radio station in the late 80s, early 90s, and 35 years later, I'm at the sister station to that one here. It's basically Phoenix's version of whatever classic rock station you are in whatever city you're in.
Yeah, I think I noticed that on your shirt the other night, 100.7, and it was like, yeah, I mean, it's the same.
Same radio
frequency.
station. Yep. And when I was, and I almost got to program KLOS in Los Angeles, which would have been fun, but the owners of the station at the time were brutally cheap and couldn't pay me enough to go out there. But that would have been a great honor to be able to be able to be part of KLOS, which was the presenting station for
US Festival.
The US Festival.
There you go. I walked in. This is a true story. I walked into the interview and I was with actually the CEO of the company, the parent company at the time of the radio station, and their general sales manager. They didn't have a program director. That was the job I was going for. So I sat down with them, and this was in 2013. So I said, well, here's the deal. My plan is if this thing works out and we can come to an agreement, this summer we do a 30th anniversary concert. And they both looked at me. The owner of this company, like the CEO of this company, goes, 30th anniversary concert for what?
Of Woodstock?
And,
yeah, man.
And it was at that point that I knew I wasn't right for
Live
this
Aid?
gig. I knew I wasn't right for the gig because if I'm sitting in the offices of KLOS Radio in Los Angeles, California, in front of the CEO of the parent company at the time and the general sales manager, and they don't know what I'm talking about, what happened 30 years ago for KLOS, it was not the right job. I was not the right guy for the job. So they hired some other guy. And thankfully, and they fired him like 11 months later. So,
man.
So I'm glad I didn't get that gig because I would have been done. I would have never made it.
Well, you were in their offices, right? You were in the building.
The old building in Culver City. Yeah.
So was there like a lot of like the station's history, like on the walls, like stuff that would have been from 30 years ago?
There must have been like, all kinds of posters and stuff.
Yeah, there
somewhere
was
in the archives.
The Air Studio. Well, it's amazing. Here's the thing about radio stations. You would think they'd be a little bit more like John Biel's room or like my room. You know what I mean? Where there's music and like history around it. But a lot of radio stations now are like insurance companies. Like there's a studio, there's no flavor toward the history of the radio station or anything like that. The beauty of the company that I work for, which is a company called Hubbard Radio, they're based out of Minneapolis. The guy that owns the company, his name is Stanley Hubbard. He was the guy that started U.S. Satellite Broadcasting, which eventually merged with DirecTV. So he's a broadcaster.
I recognize that name. I used to work for Dish Network. So, yeah.
All right. So you know who Stanley Hubbard is.
Yeah.
So Hubbard Radio is a broadcasting company. They're a radio company. And so when our building was built here in Phoenix, Arizona, we had a brand new building built when they bought our stations. They consolidated all the 3 rock stations into one building. Our vice president was given carte blanche to design the radio station the way he wanted to. So when you go into our radio station, the first thing you see is a coffee table that looks like a Strat headstock. And then there are amplifiers on the stairwells, like lining the stairwells, and guitars. Nice. Every staff member of the radio stations in the building has their own guitar that they were given to design.
Oh, wow.
So, they gave me like a Fender. Yeah, they gave me like a Fender Jag-Stang. So I took a silver Sharpie and I drew like Don Martin cartoons on it, the Van Halen VH, Kiss logo, like stuff like it would do on your notebook.
That's cool. I mean,
I love the Jag-Stang.
A guitar like the Jag-Stang, yeah.
So if you walk in and you look up and you see and every air staff member has their own guitar. And we've got 5 radio stations in the building. So there's that guitar wall. Then when you go up the stairs and you're walking through the hallways, the ceiling lights are actually like LED light bulbs under Zildjian cymbals.
Oh, wow.
That line the hallways all the way down the hallways to
cool.
each radio station. So it's like our company, unlike KLOS and so many other radio stations around America. Now I'm not going to speak for all of them, but I can tell you when I walked into the KLOS building, I was incredibly disappointed at how little soul was in the hallways of that building.
Yeah, you're embracing it at your place. I mean, absolutely.
Oh no, it's so cool. And they've got pictures of all of the concerts that are done because we own all the rock stations in Phoenix. So there's the angry heavy metal station, there's the alternative dork station, and there's the old geezer station. I mean, that's us. I mean, we're so you've got the station that plays Ghost and Disturbed and all that stuff. You've got the station that plays 21 Pilots and, Foster the People and all that. And then you've got us that are playing Jimmy and Zeppelin and stuff. So we own the rock wall in Phoenix and all the radio stations do really, really well. But the company realizes, hey, we're a rock radio company. When people come into our building, there should be, it's not an insurance company. It's not a dentist's office. So it's really sort of, we've got pinball machines. We've got two AC/DC pinball machines upstairs. We've got a what's that shuffleboard, like the beer shuffleboard tables with like the sawdust.
Yeah.
All that down. We've got those downstairs.
The tabletop ones. Yeah.
Yeah. We've got two AC/DC pinball machines upstairs. The
cool.
whole on our second floor, we have a balcony that overlooks the parking lot. Mark, my partner, and I brought in a smoker grill. So every once in a while, we'll just start cooking breakfast for everybody when they come in. It's really, it's kind of a cool place to work.
You guys hired.
That's awesome.
And I didn't get that vibe at KLOS at all, which is sad. Our Christmas party, Amanda Coombs just asked in the chat, our Christmas party used to be held at the vice president's house, at his personal house, which was on, I think, the 7th green of the Phoenix Country Club. And he's got his own frozen margarita machine in his pool room. So we'd go to his house, empty the frozen margarita machine. Our production director at one point broke into his liquor cabinet, drank all of his tequila, like all of it, like 5 bottles of tequila. We just broke into it. And we like he had to be put into an Uber to go home that night from the vice president's house. He came back the next morning with a case of tequila, put it on his front doorstep, rang the bell, and ran.
Oh wow! That's why make up for it.
The vice president didn't know who drank all his tequila.
Wow, that's crazy.
So yeah, it's a good place to work. It's a good job.
Cool. Did you see that comment by Jeff Smith?
Yes, and Jeff, thank you. That's very kind of you. That's very nice of you, man.
Awesome.
Thank you, sir.
And Jeff, thank you for watching.
Did you ever work at WHCN in Hartford?
I did not, but I did try to get work at WHCN in Hartford.
I did
when
promotions there for about 6 months, and they were in the candy cane building. That was what I remember. It was a building that looked exactly like a candy cane. It was designed red and white, and it was just a candy cane.
That's cool.
Yeah, in Hartford. But I just did some promotions there. I would go onto all the locations, like we'd go to the music stores or like the car dealerships,
Strawberries and stuff.
Locations, yeah. That was fun for a little while.
Yeah, I don't know anybody at HCN, but HCN was the Hartford Concert Network. I remember before it became a rock station.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a classical station. There was the Hartford Concert. There was WBCN in Boston, which was the Boston Concert Network.
Wow, I didn't know that's what they stood for.
Yeah, and it was all classical radio before they all flipped to rock stations in the late 60s and early 70s.
So they would broadcast classical concerts before it was a rock format, or it was just... I know a lot of those stations would broadcast rock concerts. BCN would, and
yeah,
they'd broadcast from the Boston Garden or from wherever it would be. And now, man, if they could do that nowadays, that's where a lot of those, kind of better sound quality, better soundboard recordings are coming from. When you
the problem with that is getting clearance, and now radio stations like to have ownership of certain bands, and they demand exclusivity. Like if one band plays, for example, Shinedown got big because of something they did at WAAF in Boston when I was working there. They did a cover of Simple Man from Skinner, which became a massive nationwide hit.
I remember
and
that
launched their career into something big. Well, they did it acoustically in the studios at WAAF, and because of that, like every radio station in Boston wanted to have Shinedown play all their shows. And AAF said, no, we broke the band. We deserve exclusivity. And it becomes a real political nonsense thing where they just want to say, hey, if this band plays a show for this radio station, we won't touch their music for 2 years. And that's really some of the dirty politics that goes on in radio. And it's, and that's why bands get screwed, because they get screwed. The bands and the fans get screwed because of stupid radio politics. I've always believed if you're good at what you do, people will love your radio station despite all that stupid promotional crap.
Yeah.
Well, they've been doing live at 5 on the
ZLX,
WZLX, and so they do an opener and then a headliner, and every weekday they do it for an hour. And they've done Van Halen a couple times. And they do like a specific, like Van Halen in the 70s, which obviously there's no really pro audio from the 70s. So they take, like the Tokyo Dome, they take the songs from the 70s.
Yeah, there is.
Well,
there's the Pasadena Civic 77.
Nothing that you can play on the radio, though. Nothing you could play on the radio that,
but that would
get licensed for that.
Why not? That was never a commercial recording.
That's the point.
I don't know.
You got to get it licensed.
Yeah.
You got to get it licensed to be able to play it.
The only thing they've played is basically Tokyo Dome, Live Without. I think they played some 86 Live Without a Net. They did a lot of the Right Here, Right Now.
What they do is they can get the broadcast rights to something that was on television.
I was hoping for Us Festival, but they didn't play any of the Us Festival.
The only thing that they would play would be the stuff that was on Showtime.
Westwood One, and that's, again, we had that discussion last week that they're, trying to find a full recording of that in stereo. But yeah, the Showtime stuff is the best quality stuff you can find nowadays.
There's a couple. There was a bootleg that was licensed over in Europe. I don't know if I have it over here. It was called Live on Air. And for whatever reason, it got official release. It got something to do with circumventing U.S. copyright laws. It got released overseas.
Is it one of those bootlegs that there's a few of those where they make them look like they're actual. Yeah, like one of those.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, and as long as people have been able to make their own CDs and,
but you would actually find some of those like in actual record stores.
In record stores, yeah, because whatever the European label was, they circumvent the U.S. copyright laws, and because the U.S. lawyers can't get them, the record companies can't get them, they press them and then they sell them as an import back to the retailer. They usually only get one pressing of them out, and then when they get sold out, they're sold out.
Yeah, because there's a store. I'm not going to name the store, but there's a store a local store where I would go to, and they would have a few of those in stock. And I remember seeing them like, how are they stocking these things? These are obviously bootlegs, but it looks like a brand new CD.
Well, I think when CD stores started to find the business model where they could sell used CDs, that's when a lot of those started creeping in, and you could see, and that was cool because you could find the imports and you could find all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, but it would be, Paul, I'm sure like Newbury Comics, where they would always have like the used, but you could get the imports and you could get everything.
Are you talking the CDRs?
And there were CDRs. You could buy CDRs in those.
Those places all got shut down eventually, man. Those CDR stores.
It was in Memphis. It was a store called Replay Records, and they had like 3 or 4 different locations. If you went into Replay Records, in the back there was the back cabinet that had like all these cool. My dog is trashing my living room right now.
As we speak.
Yeah, you would walk in the back. There was like all the imports and bootlegs and stuff like that. Well, Dave Matthews was in town, sent one of his road people into the store, who found Dave Matthews imports, called the police, had the entire section seized.
Yeah, I mean, if I could see the artist being able to have the power to do that, if it came down to it, I mean, they
own the rights to it, sure.
Yeah. So.
Hey, Jay.
What? Yeah.
Is that good?
Get Jay with his mouth full.
What did you get to eat?
I'm eating these, man.
Balls, chocolate salty balls.
Pretty much.
Oh, those are like gourmet Whoppers or something.
Yes, and
they're fucking huge.
Oh, are they like milk duds, or what are they?
They're kernels.
Malted balls.
God, why? Come on, John Mancuda, say it for me. All right, put it up, put it close. Okay, now pull it away slowly.
Kernels. Isn't that Michael Smith's friends?
No, it's my buddy who lives in a.
Oh, it's your friend.
What the hell is going on?
Who was the guy? Who was the guy? Who was the guy that knew the guy with the popcorn?
Yeah, that's me.
That's you. Okay.
I'm not a Whoppers or
the guy that knew the guy.
These are, man. I'll eat the whole friggin' thing right now.
Give me a second. I gotta go clean up my living room.
You shitting them out. What did you do? Nice pants. Hold on, come back here.
Wow. We haven't said hi to anybody yet. We've been on here for half an hour and we haven't read. And we got some new people in here.
Yeah,
nude people. Whoa, some nude people. Well, I gotta say, man.
Johnny just leaves us. Well, I guess it's up to you and me, Jay.
No, I'm still here. I'm still here.
Well,
we can say hi to
Johnny. I don't know about you, but I got what I consider quite a few messages between after the show last night and earlier today, and even a couple hours ago.
Yeah,
people saying, What a great show. And I attribute it to Billy. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, some cool conversations were being talked about and some good questions were asked, but it was Billy, man. Billy was like, this everything he was talking about was awesome. His personality couldn't have been better. And it was probably my favorite show so far where we've had a guest. And I mean, he went for 3 hours, dude.
Yeah.
3.
He was ready to keep going.
I felt so bad because before we started, I'd tell him, we usually do 2 hours, but if you want to do an hour, that's cool.
Yep.
But he kept saying, what's the next question?
Yeah, come on, bring it on.
An hour goes by, 2 hours, and then I think when we hit 3 hours, that's when I said, "Hey, we're at 3 hours."
Yeah.
So
let's end it. Well,
I didn't sense any kind of anxiety on his part. Like he was ready to be. He was in the zone, and he just wanted to hang.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool.
That is one thing that I kind of try to look at when we have a guest on. We hit that hour and a half mark. I usually tend to like see what their body language is. Sometimes you can tell when somebody wants to kind of split and they don't want to do it. They don't want to say, "Hey, I got to get out of here." So. But nah, man, it was super awesome. Like I woke up this morning. I'm a bigger Mr. Big fan now than I was yesterday afternoon, and I've always been a huge Mr. Big fan. So,
cool. I was. I mean, I've been a huge Mr. Big fan. You heard my story.
Yeah,
I met him in 1992. I skipped school to meet him and to hang out and I didn't say anything last night. But the first time I met him, I'm like, "Hey, can you get me backstage passes to Van Halen?" That's what I asked him, and and this was years ago. This is 1992,
right?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Sorry, that's another organization." I remember that was his answer.
Nice professional answer.
Yeah, instead of "Get away from me, kid,"
But no, I've met him many times over the years since.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking forward to the next time. Because the next time he'll actually know who I am now.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I mean, think of me too. Like my brother, he had that Mr. Gray, Mr. Big T-shirt with the album cover on the front. The first record
image. Yeah.
And his band used to, like, when he was in high school, and I was probably about 13, probably about the 13 and 14-year-old range, because he's 4 years older than I am, and I used to sit on my brother's floor and just watch those guys play, like a buttload of those first album Mr. Big songs.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been a fan ever since then, man.
I wish we could have asked them about the box set, if that would be ever released in the United States. Because that box set is only from like the first 3 albums, so it's like all these like 22 discs of like demos and live shit and all this stuff that Japan loves.
Mm-hmm.
That will probably never see the light of day here in the United States.
But you have it here in the United States.
Well, yeah, that's all. Yeah, but it's like
it's accessible.
It's accessible to me, but like there's nothing. I mean, it's great. It's selfishly that's great, but there's a part of me that wants Mr. Big to be bigger, to be to be successful, so that it continues. Although it doesn't look like it's going to continue without Pat. So
yeah,
but you know what I mean.
I know
that's a great band.
Yeah, I mean, I consider, like, they get lumped in, to that glam rock era, and I don't really agree with
unfairly,
it.
Yeah, I mean,
they were like, because them and when did the first Mr. Big record come out? Was it 89?
Yeah,
89, 88, 89.
Yeah, so it was at the tail end of that stuff. Like, I think the first Winger record was 88 as well.
Yep.
So it was like the tail end of that, and those two bands, I think Mr. Big and Winger, they're extreme musicians. Like there's not a weak link in in either one of those bands, and I think it's very unfair that they get lumped in with some of the other ones. I don't want to name names, but
those are my two bands. I mean, I grew up. I'll admit it. You guys, I've never admitted this on here, but I'm a huge Van Halen fan. Okay.
No,
I've never admitted that.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I don't believe it. I'm not buying it. Not buying it.
All right, name 2 Van Halen songs.
Panama,
Jump, and
You Really Got Me.
Yeah.
No, Pretty Woman, and You Really Got Me.
Yeah, You Really Got Me. Where have all the good times gone? Dancing in the street.
But
No,
back,
those are too deep.
back in 1988, you know, Van Halen was my band. That's all I would listen to, you know. But when Mr. Big came around, when Winger
did you
came
know
around,
about the crossover that Billy had played with Dave in '86, and at the time when you were
Oh,
a Mr. Big
of
fan,
course.
so you knew, so that kind of probably led you
yeah,
into
yeah,
it.
of course
Yeah.
I did.
I didn't-
I had that album, but
Wait. Billy Sheehan played with David Lee Roth?
Well, I didn't make the Mr. Big connection until way later.
I don't know what you're talking about. But no. You know, I still am huge Van Halen fan. But 1988 came around, and the only other albums that I really got into, besides, you know, Van Halen, was Mr. Big and Winger. So those are two other bands I was like really into at the time.
Winger got
And-
screwed for a bunch of reasons, not the least of which was obviously Beavis and Butthead and Metallica, but
Yeah.
they were also impossibly good looking. And it was, at the time, image was so important that it was impossible for anybody to consider that a band that good looking and pinup worthy could actually play.
Well, yeah. Well, they tried to, you know, sell Kip as like this sex symbol, you know,
Right.
on with the whole Playgirl thing. Like, I
Those-
think that kind of,
Those pinups.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd buy
They
the
were all over your
magazines.
walls, Johnny. I know that's you had those before you had the albums, right?
I'd get the Metal Edge and the
He was
Circus.
dreamy.
there was Circus, there was Metal Edge. Metal Edge was like the main one, I remember.
Then there was the tight belt
Um,
buckle episode
Green.
or issue.
You know,
But how bad do you feel for Paul Taylor, who is the other guy in Winger?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
well,
'Cause there was no way he was going to get any credit whatsoever with those other three guys in the band.
Mm-hmm.
well, he played
He was
keyboards.
the Michael Anthony.
Yeah, keyboards. Yeah.
He played keyboards and second guitar.
No, I understand that. I know what he
remember.
did, but he was never going to get recognized in that band ever. I mean, you got Dixie Dregs, you've got an amazing guitar player, and you've got a pinup bass player who obviously had a pedigree from Alice Cooper and other projects. So Paul Taylor was like the good-looking girl's best friend. He was never going to do anything, like nobody was ever going to recognize him. In fact, I would bet that most people who've listened to Winger didn't even know Paul Taylor was in the band.
Paul
Mhm.
Taylor. Well, I did. I mean, because I was a fan. My buddy, who was my drummer at the time, when were just starting out playing, you know, music. He had that old school Winger VHS tape.
Yeah,
It had like
Right.
Hungry on it,
Yeah.
and in interviews and stuff. And they're talking when Paul Taylor gets introduced. I forget who says his name, but it's Paul Taylor, and he's sitting there smiling.
there
That's
was.
like the
two- I had that, man.
You guys remember the David Lee Roth Eat 'em and Smile video, and where Dave
Yeah.
introduces everybody, and he's at the poolside with all the girls and everything, and or
Mhm.
was it Eat 'em? I think it was Eat 'em and Smile, and I think it had California Girls and those videos on it as well.
Yeah, everything off the first album.
Yeah,
And they actually released it as a DVD
That's how you
companion to one. It was a
I have the
DVD.
VHS somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah, there was a DVD companion to one of the greatest hits collections that came out. If you bought the special edition, there was a DVD with all of Roth's solo videos on it, including
Oh,
that
cool.
entire
To
VHS.
look
Yeah,
for that one.
yeah.
It was only like 20 minutes long, and I think it was like 4 music videos, and it did have Going Crazy and Yankee Rose, I think.
Yankee
And
Rose
then
Going
it
Crazy,
had some
Just a
couple
Gigolo,
interviews.
and California Girls. Yeah,
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it's at the time when you only had
Hmm.
limited selection in Strawberries or Towers. Or
Maybe I
whatever it
had
was.
that.
I could probably go
It's-
get it. I have it downstairs somewhere.
yeah, I have it somewhere too.
Wow.
Well, I will say with the first Winger record, especially, it still had that 80s, like the drums, for instance. The drums still had that 80s vibe
Trigger.
to it, whereas Mr. Big,
All the reverb.
yeah, the reverb, it just didn't
Gated
sound like real
snare.
drum, you know. But Mr. Big, like the
They
first
were
album-
pros. They knew what they were doing.
No, I'm just saying the drums sounded like real drums. They had that big rock sound.
Who produced that first album?
I don't know, but they still
John
sound
Biel.
like, yeah, John Biel.
No, the Mr. Big stuff was tight, man.
Yeah, well, the
I
only
mean-
thing I guess on the first record, Paul's guitar tone was super processed, but I
Oh,
still think it sounds awesome. you
That's
know?
an
Well, it was
80
the
AMP1,
sound, yeah.
baby.
The
Yeah.
sound of that time, the early rack units and the
That-
swishy.
That 80
ethereal
MP1, man. 80 MP1 just driven with some chorus on it. That's that sound. He had it. Nuno had
Shimmery.
it. Yeah, a couple of guys had that. And what an introduction. I mean, Addicted to That Rush kicks off the record and you go, holy shit.
Yeah, that's what I almost said the same thing last night when I was talking
Yeah.
about that. You know, like,
like,
who
well,
are these guys?
But here's the thing. Not only in that one song, you get the best part of everything that band has to offer and a great friggin' song. Like, it's not just a shred fest. Like you would think that it's just wanking for wank's sake, which sometimes happened in Racer X. But in that song, it's like, Jesus Christ, they unleash, and Eric has a phenomenal voice. He's one of the most underrated singers of his type. And for 5 minutes, they just blow you away. And at the end of it, they do the whole boom, wow, pow, and right in the kisser, like the whole Honeymooners thing. And you go, wow, that's good. It didn't matter what happened after that. Wind Me Up was going to be a disappointment no matter what. Like, you were screwed because they had just hit you with arguably the greatest first track on a debut album I've ever heard.
Well, it definitely is one of those.
That and Welcome to the Jungle.
It was a single. That was the first thing that anybody heard from them, was that one.
Right.
Well, shit, what the hell was I just going to say?
Back in the day.
I think that and Welcome to the Jungle are the two great first, from a debut album, the two best first singles I've ever heard.
Well, it's probably the most not just like, same thing with like Eddie Van Halen with Eruption, but I'm saying it's probably one of those first songs from an album that you're like, not just, oh my God, that's a great song, or that's this, that's that. That's, listen to those effing guys. Like,
oh yeah,
kidding me?
Like Yankee Rose was that.
Like, look at us, look what we can do, and it's a great song. Yeah.
Well, and again, to the general public, they were a brand new band. Like, nobody knew who they were. Nobody, I mean, with the exception of Eric Martin, who was fairly unknown at that time. Nobody knew who he was. Everybody else had a pedigree, and anybody that knew anything about music knew what Paul Gilbert did before, knew what Billy Sheehan did before, knew what Pat Torpey did. But Eric Martin was like that ace card that came out of nowhere, and you went, "Oh my God, listen to this guy's voice."
He was always a solo artist,
right?
Because he's from here. He's from the Bay Area,
Sacramento,
Sacramento, and living here, or I'm in Santa Cruz now, but there's a lot of history of in the rock scene with Eric Martin, and you see a lot of his earlier stuff from like the '80s.
I got one of his solo records somewhere.
Oh. Thought they were tearing up paper towels or something.
No. I was literally looking to see where my M's are, because I think I've got one of his solo records.
Was Yankee Rose the first song off of Eat 'Em and
box
Smile?
of tissues that's on top of the Vaseline.
Who uses Vaseline, pussy?
It's just funny. What are you talking about?
The friction is what makes it happen.
Oh my gosh!
What?
That's right, even in the chat. Joe
Mancuta's like,
yeah. Man, well, hey, we haven't said hello to anybody yet. We're like 45 minutes into this.
Jeez.
By the way, thrash metal and fun riffs. DRI's Crossover is one of the greatest records of its type, and one of the only of their records that I own. Fantastic record. 5-Year Plan is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Such a great band. DRI is a great band.
Dirty Rotten Imbeciles.
Yeah. Crossover was a massive record.
5-Year Plan. That's probably the only song I remember from him.
I win, you lose.
Hey, everybody that's watching this in the chat, Facebook and YouTube, let us know where you're from.
Thank you, William Spruce.
Let us know where you're watching from, and we'll read read your name.
And let us know what you like to do with your free time.
Yeah.
and your zodiac sign.
And how short your pants are that you're wearing right now.
Man.
Short your pants. Vistalite 1972 is from Los Angeles. Brian Spalding's from Hawaii. Brian, good to talk to you earlier, man.
Does anybody know what designs were on Paul's pants when he got up to walk away before? Were they dolphins or were they
Nope.
Oh man, what were they? I remember seeing them.
That's the question of the night now.
I'm just gonna have to talk over people. I mean, that's Sean Zimmerman. Where are you from? Steve Carmichael. You're from Atlanta. Amanda Combs is from Plainfield, Ontario. Scotland. Hugh Caldwell's in Scotland. Wow.
Oh no shit,
David Ennis. David Ennis. It's in Missouri.
dude. It's like 6 a.m. in Scotland. Isn't
Tim. Is it Tim? Is it Christensen? Is in Anaheim. Dane Zimmerman is in Phoenix. Mark Blankenship is in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Janice Lala is a Libra.
Noted.
SD Design is in San Diego, California.
Is that different than San Diego?
No, it's a joke.
Oh,
Go after yourself.
No, I get it.
Mark Dillon is in Trepassey,
Dylan,
Newfoundland.
you son of a bitch.
I'm trying to read this stuff. This thing's going.
Yeah, Trepassey.
Jeff Smith is in Chi-Town, Phoenix. Yeah.
Originally from Chicago, now living in Phoenix.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I'm originally from well, not Chicago, but Illinois. I'm assuming he's a Bears fan. God, I hope so. I hope not for his sake, actually. Because they suck.
Greg McMullen is in Philly. 5150. I got to look at the other screen. 5150 Fly Guys in Florida. Terry Himes is watching from Ohio.
Hit him in high.
Hit him with the Himes.
Oh man.
I follow some of those guys on Periscope, man. They go live at the weirdest times and just do the weirdest stuff. Some of those dudes. Like the guy with the real high voice, high pitch Eric.
High pitch
you
Eric,
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't he the one who got his license and kept getting into car accidents every couple days?
He would stream videos of himself just sitting there playing video games in his underwear in his apartment.
Was that Howard Stern and his crew?
Yeah.
Yeah, he dead now, right?
Is he?
No.
I think so. Yeah.
High
think
pitch
so.
Eric?
I think so, yeah.
No, you're thinking about one of the other dudes.
Yeah, one of the other guys with a name that we
some
probably
weird
can't say
fellow,
on
man.
here.
Yeah. No, but I don't think he's passed away. I would have heard about it. So I follow all those
Johnny
guys
was
on
close to
Twitter.
him.
Hank is dead. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Hank's dead. I saw Hank before his first appearance on that show. He's from Boston, or was from Boston, and he and his buddies, he was hammered at the rest stop right before the Natick exit on the Massachusetts Turnpike. I was on my way to do overnights at WAAF and stopped in to grab some food on the way out to work, and Hank and his two buddies were in line, like 3 people in front of me, and he wasn't anybody then. I'm on my way home at 6 o'clock in the morning, driving home, and I hear Gary come into the studio and go, "Hey, Howard, there's these 3 guys that drove in from Boston, and one of them is a dwarf, and he's hammered." And I'm like, "Oh my God, those were the guys that were in front of me at the Burger King." Like literally, like 2 hours, well, 5 hours, but 2 hours before I had heard.
Pretty cool.
Like, those guys, yeah, no, so
That's funny.
yeah, so ridiculous. And then years later, I'd end up being on a Stern affiliate in Memphis, and having those guys come visit. You know, they would do market visits, and oh my God, were they out of control? All of them.
Like that.
Just all of them were out of control. I forget the one of the guys, the guy that was the Orthodox Jew. I forget his name, Gary something or other. I think it was Gary. I forget, but he was the guy that wore the leather thing on his arm and stuff like that. He came in town for Dead Elvis Week because Howard would send one of his people down there for Dead Elvis Week. First thing he asked was where we could find a kosher deli. We're like, "Oh shit, dude, you're in Memphis." Like that's not happening. You're not going to be able to find that there. Good people though. All of them were good people. Crackhead Bob, nicest guy in the world. You know,
With a
creeps.
name like that, what do you expect?
They were all creepy, but nice, really nice.
Man. Yeah, I'm still a huge fan of all that stuff.
I have a Howard Stern radio somewhere. I'll bring it down when I get another beer.
You must
National
have
radio?
the old
Yeah.
box set, the old Howard Stern box set. Do you have that? Paul?
Oh, he's getting up.
Oh, what are they?
Oh, those pants. Oh, that's that snowman dude.
There it is. Yeah. Like I said, of course you've got that.
Of course I do. Why wouldn't
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing that.
He used, he used to advertise that all back in when he was on I guess the E show and the Channel 9 show.
Yeah, he was. I mean, obviously, when you work on one of their affiliates, and you're the afternoon guy and he's your morning guy, you end up having to do all of the events that he can't come to town to do, related to like the movie premiere and all that stuff. So it was kind of fun. It was kind of fun to be
disappointed when you showed up and not Howard
pretty much.
Stern.
Yeah. Well, they would see the long hair and they go, "Oh, you're just trying to be like him." I'm like,
When I was living in Desmond Child's house in Florida, the house I was living in the second house, and that was the house that Desmond was turning into a studio. So I'd wake up to construction workers, working on the studio and all this stuff. And there was a guy that kept coming over, and he was like setting up like a production center to work on stuff. And I remember I came home. I was back here visiting. I flew back to Miami. I walk in the door after getting off the airplane, and there's this dude in my house, just like working on stuff. So I ended up being like, "Hey, what's your name?" And I'll just say his name was Randy. And I find out later that he was it engineered, produced. He worked on Stuttering John's album. Remember the album that Stuttering John did? He had that one song. What was it called? Chat. What was Stuttering John's song? Something. Anyway, this dude had worked on that. So he had he brought it in. He showed it to me. He had a Jackie the Joke Man, like a puppet or some sort of something that told jokes.
Wow.
And so
they sent out one. Go ahead.
Anyway. So that thing, I was setting that thing off like all day long. It was hilarious.
When the movie came out, they sent out these little radios. It's like a tiny little radio, and it's just got the little Howard Stern Private Parts logo on it. I still have it sitting on a shelf, and just a whole bunch of press. I've got somewhere. You may or may not have seen this, and it's probably good that you haven't. No, that's not it. Hang on, I'll find it.
Oh, look at this.
No, it's the
Debbie does
soundtrack.
what?
Well, it's the soundtrack to the movie, but it's got Howard naked on the front cover. And they banned it pretty quick. There you go.
Well, wasn't that the cover of the video, the video cassette, or him standing?
You mean he's totally naked on that?
I guess.
Okay,
Oh, there you go.
We probably shouldn't. Well,
It's covered.
you can't see anything.
No.
Yeah. But that one was pulled pretty quickly for obvious reasons. So it's still in plastic. Like, I've never opened it. I just remember when they sent it to the radio station and said, "Here, give these out to your listeners." I'm like, "Yeah, that's not happening."
They're like, "I'm taking this home."
It's still in plastic. It's never been opened. It's just sort of one of those things from the old radio career that will sit there in a box and never go anywhere. I'll die and somebody look at this and go, "Was he gay?"
It's easy to clean off if the plastic's still on it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Thanks for noticing that.
Goodness.
Mancuda text you that one.
John Bulwer wants to know what year my yellow Ibanez 7-string is. It's a 2019, man. It's downstairs. It's not even up here right now. But yeah, it's a 2019, and it is amazing. Really is.
Amazing.
Thank you, James. Yeah. The Stuttering John song was "I'll Talk My Way Out of It."
Yep.
That's right. Oh, the music video for that song was great too. Do you guys remember that?
Wasn't that in like Encino Man or some shit like that?
I vaguely remember that he had a song.
What movie was it in? It wasn't in
Probably
Private
like
Parts. It was in something
Encino
else.
No, it was before Private Parts.
Yeah, I think it was in Encino Man.
I think it was either before or after. But the music video was Stuttering John was them auditioning people for his band.
Right.
So it had cameos of all these people, and the very very last cameo of the very end of the video is Sting. Sting walks into audition for his
goodness.
band. Yeah, yeah, it's a cool video. It's a very cool.
He would shoot that stuff when those guys would come in for Stern show
Right.
and just be
I would
roll.
think so. Sure. Yeah.
We'll have to put that video in the Discord actually, because it was very cool.
Yes.
Ah,
What?
what?
Yeah. What else is going on?
Yeah, what else? Let's see. We got 97 watching.
What?
Nice.
How many
Is
thumbs? How many thumbs we got? 41.
Is anybody new? Well, I guess is anybody in here right now? Was last night the first time you watched a show?
Yeah, sorry to let you down on the next tonight's show.
What?
Well, last night was. How can you top last night? It was a
John's
great show.
apologizing for himself,
That's all.
Yeah, because it's his show.
not for us.
No, we're fine.
I love when this show goes in the shitter. Everybody blames it. Now it's John BL's show.
Now it's my fault.
Now it's John's. He's like he's like the parent, like when the kid screws up in school. That's your kid. It's your son.
Not mine.
Did you hear what your son did today?
Did I say a good show last night? Good show last night, guys. Let's try and top it tonight.
Oh,
Not happening.
nah.
We've got to get Billy back in here.
Not tonight, but
Billy the bass player, who, by the way, gets referenced in the movie Talk Radio. If you've ever seen the movie Talk Radio with Eric Bogosian, there's a scene where I forget the actor's name. He's really, really good. Kind of a weird guy. He's the stoner, like metalhead kid. He goes, I want to send this song out to Billy the bass player and all the kids down at the, and I mean, you're like, wow, look at you, little Billy Sheehan reference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went as soon as the show was over last night. I watched Detroit 1986, David Lee Roth.
There you go.
oh, talk radio. I had the soundtrack because Stuart Copeland had a song on it.
Oh, cool.
What was that movie? I don't remember that.
It was based on
Oliver
it was based-
Stone.
Yeah, it was based on a guy who was killed by white supremacists. It was a good movie. An
All right.
Oliver Stone movie, so it goes on forever.
Yeah.
I'll share the screen. I've never seen the movie, but I had the soundtrack because Stuart was on it.
Movie's good.
Or he did the soundtrack, maybe. Stuart
the
did a lot of stuff.
Guy I'm talking about is Michael Wincott, who's a fantastic actor.
I don't remember that one.
Oh, I know the artwork or the cover. I don't know. I never saw the movie though.
I think Stern sort of co-opted the cover to try and say that, hey, this movie was really based on me.
What year was that? Was that
The movie was
more recently, right?
late
Or
80s.
No.
Oh,
88,
really?
Late 80, like 88.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
88. Yeah.
Well, kind of the heyday of Oliver Stone. I mean, that was Platoon and all those JFK and that stuff was around that time. So I'll have to check that out. I don't remember that one.
That was a fantastic movie. When Alec Baldwin is in it as a douchebag radio executive, John McGinley is in it, Ellen Green is in it. It's really kind of like those people were all bit players and stuff, but then they go on to be obviously bigger. And it was Bogosian's 15 minutes. Like he was never really bigger than that movie.
Look at that computer.
I remember what was the Phil Hartman show was talk radio too. Was that news radio?
News radio, yeah.
I remember that one from the 90s.
I gotta get a water. I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, talk radio was an essay in self-destruction. It's and for people that do what I do for a living, everybody watches it and realizes it's a cautionary tale. Like, don't believe your own hype. Be careful how far you go on the air because dangerous shit happens. Some people are not well balanced, and if you do or say the wrong thing, it can end tragically. And that's
Sure.
I'm not going to give it away, but it was based on a guy named Alan Berg, who worked in Denver, Colorado, and was killed by white supremacists.
Is that the end of the movie?
Oh,
No.
I spoiled it.
Oh, okay.
No,
Well, there was some other kind of radio DJ movies that a DJ was it what was that?
Well, obviously, Good Morning Vietnam and Airheads.
No, well, what was the one with
Play Misty for Me?
Shit, no, I can't think of it. Well, the American Graffiti. American Graffiti was a good one because they had like the radio played a prominent part in that.
Yeah.
A Fish Called Wanda. Was that or one of those?
Pump Up the Volume was a big radio move. There you go. Thrash metal just hit it. Even Once Upon a Time in Hollywood had a lot of radio in it. You know, that's something that that Tarantino is a big fan of. He loves using radio, like in Pulp Fiction and in Reservoir Dogs.
What's the one that Jeff Bridges played a radio host? That's the one I'm trying to think of. I thought it was Fish Called Wanda, maybe, but maybe I just have vague memories of a movie with him, and it revolved around, you know, kind of his story. Oh, what was, and then Joe Dirt was the radio interview the whole time. I think that was kind of yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say Gene Simmons was a radio guy in Trick or Treat, in the horror movie Trick or Treat.
I don't remember that one. Fisher King, thank you, Krellbar. That's the one I'm thinking of. I don't know why Fisher King, Fish Called Wanda. I don't know.
Same thing.
That was a good movie. That was it Danny DeVito? No. Anyway, I'm gonna stop.
The Fisher King?
I'm gonna stop trying to think of these. No, it was Robin Williams. Damn.
Yeah.
John B, I'll look it up.
There you go for Netflix. Yeah, it's a good one for Netflix. Probably on there.
I don't know, but I have to use the bathroom, so I'm gonna go join Jay.
It's funny because I have to use the bathroom and get a beer, but I'm not going to tap out while everybody else does it.
Oh, thank you.
That would be wrong. Yeah, the Warriors has great radio in it too, as well.
The Warriors, yeah.
The Warriors. Oh man.
Yeah. That chick narrates the movie.
She's a DJ or Do the Right Thing. Do the Right Thing.
Do the Right Thing.
Another one.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Samuel L. Jackson was great in Do the Right Thing as the DJ.
There you go. DJ movies.
One of his early ones. That was one of Samuel L. Jackson's early films.
Yeah, was that like 88? Spike Lee. Was that? I think that was Spike Lee's first big movie anyway.
Yeah, it's still his best.
Rosie Perez. That's probably still the only one I've ever seen, I think, of his movies.
It's a masterpiece from start to finish. It's a great movie.
Danny Aiello. Is it Danny Aiello?
Yeah, Danny Aiello, John Turturro. I mean,
Rosie Perez.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Ossie Ocasio was great in it. Steve White, the comedian, before he became anybody. Yeah, no, it was a classic. Yeah, that was when I saw in kind of film school. It was one of the ones that they. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Perfect kind of, you know.
Yeah, he never matched that again. It was fairly flawless.
I'm trying to think of other ones that I've seen of his. Did he do 25 hours, 24 hours with Ed Norton? He's got like 24 hours till he has to go to prison. I think that was Spike Lee. Maybe it was Spike Jones.
Lee Jones.
Which there's a new Beastie Boys documentary that I haven't seen yet.
I don't have Apple TV. I want to see it, but I might actually sign up for the trial for Apple TV, like the 7-day or 14-day trial, just to watch the documentary.
Requests, or the recommendations.
Yeah, just to watch the Beastie Boys documentary and then cancel out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's like what I did for The Mandalorian. Just enough time to watch the series and then get out.
Well, that's what I'm doing with the Fender Play lessons. Like Fender's doing that 3 months free of Fender Play. So just to go back and do some rudimentary skills and like unlearn some bad habits, I signed up for it.
Oh, cool.
It says 3 months. So it doesn't say how many lessons. It says 3 months. So if you can cram the entire program in 90 days, you're done. There's no reason to pay for it. Look, everybody, it's Nerd Halen. Nope.
Hello, can't hear you.
He's playing.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Damn it.
Check.
There you go.
Hey.
What?
How's
What?
that?
Did you get a new microphone? Did somebody get a new microphone?
No, I'm just using it tonight. So
Oh.
sound okay?
Yeah.
What mic you using?
It's like a Samson codec. Check.
Little condenser mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice little mic.
What's happening?
We're talking about what the hell are we talking about?
Bad radio movies.
Bad radio movies.
Spike Lee.
Yeah, we were
Spike
talking
Lee,
about Do the Right
Do
Thing.
the right thing.
Yeah. The Warriors. Yeah. Warriors.
What up, Red?
So yeah.
So yeah.
I
Yeah,
was
the
gonna-
other
I was
the other
going to
folks
congratulate the other guys about.
I know,
last
they're not
night,
here.
but they're not here. That was incredible.
Yeah, they did a great job.
That's
Absolutely.
I mean, he's probably the easiest guest in the world because he's the coolest human being alive. But
Really?
Can you, do you think he has
After
a
that.
computer set up in his garage, or did he just bring his iPad or his laptop out there for that moment?
yeah, it's either a phone or an iPad, I think. But yeah, no,
He's just got the whole rig right next
imagine
to him.
cruising by that neighborhood, just seeing
Oh, my
Billy Sheehan
goodness.
in there in his garage,
Where is he living? Where was that from?
Nashville.
I actually missed the beginning of I have to go back and rewatch because
Yeah,
Nashville
Nashville
didn't
has
get
become
the-
LA.
didn't get the
Yeah.
notice, and I
A lot of people
jumped
live in
in late.
Nashville that used to live in LA.
New Music City.
Yeah.
It's like actors here. A lot of actors have moved from Hollywood to Phoenix. They live in Paradise Valley here in Phoenix
Yeah. God.
because it's like a 45-minute flight to go from here, from Scottsdale to LA. So it's easier for them to just jump on a flight than it is to drive.
Right. And
It's faster to go from Phoenix to LA from Scottsdale Airport than it is to drive from the Valley into Los Angeles.
it's true.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yes, the 405 southbound in the morning is ridiculous. So, speak from experience. So, yeah, I didn't know you interviewed at KLOS. That's awesome.
Yep. I forget the guy's name, the guy that was a security guard. It's African-American dude, older guy. He's been there forever. Nicest guy in the world, has like a blazer sitting. Have you ever been to KLOS,
No,
Caleb?
no.
All right. So you have to go down. It's on La Cienega. And you or it used to be. I think they've moved the building because I think they sold the building because it's on oil. It's on one of the
Yeah.
oil fields.
It's right.
So-
near
So
the
they've
oil.
actually moved the building.
They actually, well, not the building, but everybody moved out.
Oh, okay.
They got a new location.
Well, it's
They
owned
do
by-
that.
Yeah, it's owned by ABC. So ABC has their big headquarters in Glendale. So they probably moved it over to ABC. So.
But it's not owned by ABC anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it used to be owned by a company called Cumulus Media, and I think now might be owned by Entercom, but I'm not sure.
Mm.
But when I went in there, it was like, and you knew it was bad because the whole area is gated, and it's like these are like wrought iron gates with like spikes on the top, so you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
hop the fence. But the building was just dilapidated and
Yeah.
and it's I guess they built it there in the 60s, and they didn't do any work to it. But yeah, I almost it was 2013. I almost ended up as the program director there, but they were not paying enough money for me to rent a house in Culver City.
Right.
So we
it's
couldn't
gonna
come
be
to an
expensive.
agreement. Yeah, we couldn't come to for what I pay in rent here in Phoenix. It would have been almost 4 times the rent.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's a completely different.
Yeah. To rent a house in Culver City is about $4,600 a month in 2013.
Yeah.
To rent.
Right. And to be the PD, you better.
They
be
better
making
pay
some
me.
money. God.
Yeah. Now they weren't offering enough money to do it. They ended up moving somebody from one of the other stations down there and then firing them like 11 months later.
Gotcha.
That station's been through a lot of turmoil over the past 20 years. The guy they have in there now is really good, and he's starting to try and modernize it and make it what it used to be.
Mhm.
But it's a difficult challenge that the brand is damaged, and the audience for radio, the younger audience for radio in Los Angeles, is not interested in KLOS.
No, and if anyone's interested in rock and roll or whatever, they're old enough to have satellite. Like satellite's completely killed everybody.
And yet it's not that good because they just put on a brand new Led Zeppelin channel and a Guns N' Roses channel, like all these things that just started on May 1st, popped it on, and I heard Immigrant Song like twice within the first 4 hours. And I'm like, all right,
Ooh.
well, somebody's not paying attention. So that's the problem with satellite radio is they promise you something very exclusive and something awesome. And it is in certain aspects. But because they are understaffed and underpaid and overworked, like they have somebody, one programmer will program 6 or 7 stations. You can't possibly give 100% of your attention to 6 stations. You just can't. So something is going to fall through the cracks.
Absolutely. Hello, Johnny.
Hey, man.
Hey,
Jay.
there they are.
We came back together.
Oh,
Ooh, you know what that means?
Jay looks a little lighter.
I feel kind of lighter right now.
Yeah. Very good.
I need,
Well,
I need to reload.
Paul's turn.
Number 3.
I was just going to say, I mean, I had to congratulate you guys on the air. I know I've already texted you, but last night was just unbelievable. Just incredible. It doesn't get any better. That's the best interview, I believe, that's ever been on your channel, Johnny.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, that includes.
Well, I mean, we would hope it would get better. I mean,
that includes the
you know.
Nerd Halen video or interview.
I was thinking that was at the tops before last night.
Yeah. So no, it was the guy's stellar. I mean, you can't go wrong with that guy. So,
Dude, it would have been fine if we didn't say anything at all. You know, he was that amazing of a guest. He really was.
yep. No, and I knew it was going to be good because I mean I've met the guy and he's as cool as they get, and I mean just that mind is incredible. Like just where I mean he remembers everything. You saw that like there wasn't a part of that show where he went like I don't remember.
yeah.
No,
The career that he has had.
He remembered everything.
The career from the 70s. I mean, and even the 60s. I mean, he talking about when he started and all that, and all the bands, and when it comes to a rock bassist, top 5 easy.
Oh yeah,
easy top 5.
I mean, speaking from me, like he was the first bass player that I remember thinking like, "Whoa, that's like a lead instrument right there." You know what I mean? Like I think he might have been the first bass player. Besides, like I knew Michael Anthony and Geddy Lee and those guys, just because I was fans of the band. But I remember like listening to Mr. Big and stuff, and just hearing the bass, and I was like, holy shit, that's like that's an extra guitar, that you're listening to almost.
Melodic into a melodic instrument really brought it into the forefront as a melodic instrument, like John Entwistle and some of the early bass pioneers.
Yeah, I would put him and John Entwistle in the same category.
Playing the fretboard,
they're
before.
They're bass guitarists. They're not bassists.
Sure.
Bass players. They're bass guitarists. They play guitar. It happens to be the low end.
And it was incredible the stuff that he was showing us. I mean, he was playing.
My God. Oh,
he was playing. I would spotlight him, and he's like doing all this stuff right in the camera, right for us.
Yeah, dude. I asked that question about Elephant Gun, and I had no idea he was just going to start playing it. And just to see that shit going, like that was just insane. Because you hear he's playing 30-second notes on a bass, and that ain't easy, folks. With a pick, he has to do the old butterfly and or hummingbee, hummingbird.
Is that what? No, man, I was gonna say something, man.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Flicking the bean, the bean. You know what though? Like I'm always amazed.
Beanie, if there's a name for that one. What do you call that move?
Amanda says no comment, so it must be special. I'm always amazed that Billy, that harmonic that he gets out of that bass, he can get it anywhere on the neck and anywhere he wants to, and choke it. Like it's phenomenal to me how he does that. And you watched him when he was talking about the different string gauges, and when you watched him bend that note. Like
or even when he was pulling the string as hard as he could just to get that tension out of it. Exactly.
It's thumbnail.
That was, I mean, I don't think a lot of people are, especially like bass players with the tension on those strings to pull it as hard as you can and to just, there you go again.
He pounds the hell out of his basses, like beats them up.
Yeah.
And they're still in tune. So congratulations to Yamaha for building a bass that can take abuse.
Well, it's like Michael Anthony was a Yamaha guy back when he would the bass that he would throw, and I think it was the US Festival. Same,
But
one
that wasn't his
that
main
was a
bass,
Yamaha.
though.
No, it's
That
like
was
Paul
Michael
Stanley's
Anthony's.
guitar that he breaks.
No, that was one of Michael always played. I think even in some of the early Oakland videos, I think he was playing. the
No,
Yamaha.
that was always an extra bass that he would smash
Yeah,
up.
that
It
was-
wasn't his main bass.
But he did have the Yamaha that he had a kind of a signature Yamaha. I think he's even got a mini out of it. That
Yeah, but what
That-
they'll do is they'll just
Michael
take
Anthony.
they'll just take a shit bass and put.
I know that. I know.
logo
Yeah,
on it. Yeah.
sure. Yeah, and the
for
ones
the
that he would
bit.
smash in
It's
the
for the bit.
break in half in the. But
It's for the
When he
bit,
would
yeah.
they
jump
can take.
on.
They could take. I mean, Billy proves that they can take the abuse. Yamaha makes a good bass. That's all I'm saying.
Obviously, his basses can take some abuse. I mean, he beats the shit out of those. I mean, and it's awesome. It's great to see, like a guy, and I'm sure everybody knows Billy Sheehan could have easily been a phenomenal guitar player as well on his own, but he's stuck with the bass, which I think is great because he can play anything, obviously.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, that was
Dane, which Yamaha should I put up?
This is the Michael Anthony. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, that's the Michael Anthony classic, like 80s bass.
Dude, that bass was on display at the NAMM show a couple years ago.
That's
and
probably
I,
where this
I
picture's
found
from.
out about it afterwards. I'm like, man, I could have seen that bass in person, but
I'm pretty sure that's the one he threw in at the US Festival. And,
no,
I mean, maybe it was.
no.
No.
Maybe
No.
no.
If anybody would know, John Biel would know.
Oh, there we go.
Well, I'll check it
Nerd
out.
Halen.
Let's just find out.
Those are cool.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh,
Is that a Caleb Rappaport original
Yeah.
from the first tour?
for the first tour. That's the
Stick them all. Stick them on your head and then bag them up for people.
Yeah, I'll get my COVID on there.
Mm-hmm. I want it.
Oh.
It's the second best way to get it.
Just yours though, Caleb. Just your
That's my COVID.
your coronavirus.
Carbona.
Carboner.
Carbona.
And also, Caleb was great enough to send a onesie for Killian to wear. So see where it's at.
Without the zucchini, though. I don't want you stretching it out.
No, okay, I'll tuck it
It may bind a little bit.
like Ace Ventura. Like a mean pack of hemorrhoids.
Hannon is Einhorn. Einhorn is Hannon.
They give him his tech gives him the Yamaha after he throws the bass.
Yeah.
I can check.
There you go.
Yeah,
Had
he's
to check it out.
he's not throwing
No,
jumping
I mean,
around
I
on his
know.
main bass.
Kevin Dugan, not his tech. It's Kevin Dugan.
Well, was
Kevin
it Kevin in '83? Yeah, I guess so.
Yes.
Kevin's been there since '80.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There you go.
he's the guy that yells at you if you're at NAMM.
He yells at Caleb Rappaport.
Yes. Hey, selfie stick.
Did he have a different tech for a tour at one point?
Yes. Yeah, in the
95.
'90s, he had in the Carnal Knowledge era, he had Falco?
Come on, Johnny.
They called him Datehead.
You know,
Datehead is what they called him.
there's a story on that bass in the Noel Monk book that the guys took a screwdriver to that thing without Mike knowing about it.
Oh, jeez.
And
Look at that.
apparently it really bummed him out because it was his number one and his favorite. But they, I don't know if it was Eddie or Al.
Man, that bums me out. That bums me out just hearing that.
But yeah, that's literally the other guys just
Wow.
wrecking the finish on that guitar.
Yeah, there's a rumor that the Van Halen brothers are jerks.
Yeah. I won't comment.
There's a rumor. Guitar is always
worst.
the worst.
Mhm.
Like when you get it,
Mhm.
you're like, all right, this guitar is no good anymore. I got to get rid of it. And
It's
then
just
you
like the
realize,
car.
yeah,
It's
but
just
then you
like-
realize after a couple of years, that's the seasoning. Like then all of a sudden it becomes that wear, that relicking, whatever it is.
And he just walked in.
Hello, Ned.
Yeah, I'm sure he left a present for you just right behind the table.
See, this is his favorite thing. This is what he does. This is what he does.
He's a friendly
Captain's
cat.
chair.
Yeah.
You sure his favorite thing isn't disemboweling?
If I
Yeah,
would
look-
have known it was there, man,
Man.
could have seen it. But no,
Yeah.
all the scratch ups, all the scratch ups. I mean that adds character to that bass.
Is this it before? it
Yeah,
got
it's easy to
scratched up?
say when you get the bases for free. You know what I mean? But like when you pay a couple $1,000s for a guitar and somebody jams
I don't know if
a
that's it before
screwdriver
it
into
got
it.
scratched up.
79.
Pre-scratches?
I don't know. Is there a front pickup on that?
It's hard to tell. It's
So
the
Eddie and
same.
Alex did that?
Yeah.
Sons of bitches. And he
What
had the
year?
Charvel too.
Oh my god!
He had sorry.
When
He had
did
the
they do it?
Charvel that was prominent in the. I think
Yeah, it's in the No Monk book.
I mean, I would have friggin' whooped somebody for that.
Wait a minute. Is it if that
For a long time. Again, going back to what we were talking about with Paul Taylor in Winger, how are you ever going to stand out? As great as Michael Anthony is as a guy, and we all know he's one of the greatest guys in the world. He's Switzerland. He doesn't say anything. He tries to keep everything, in-house and all that stuff. But think about that. That's 1980. He gets shit on there. Later on, he has to sign away his rights. Then they take him off the friggin' web page. Then like all these things. And yet, like Michael just gets beat
he's a
up.
stand-up guy. Yeah.
He just gets beat up repeatedly in that. And then have Eddie come.
Me?
Well, and there you go, Sam. Sammy
I'm
broke
sorry.
his-
If you
broke
have
the
any
silence.
class, you keep it in-house.
Oh,
Well,
yeah. We're not
You
going to
do.
get Sammy on the show. So.
No, but you do. You keep it in-house. You don't talk about that shit publicly.
the fans love it.
Nah.
It got him to thinking about, like, we should probably try and do this one
Right.
more time.
Right.
I think the passing of Ronnie Montrose was big for Sammy. I think when
Yeah.
Ronnie
Well,
Ronnie
even-
passed, that was a
Well,
big move
and
because
Bowie
he's-
and
Bowie.
get this over with again. So
Yeah, and just look at it from that perspective. I mean,
yeah, but
we're
he was
all-
in a
we're
band.
all
He
running
was,
out of time.
he was in a band with Ronnie though, and then when Ronnie died, it was like all of a sudden because you remember he spent a lot of time sort of lifting his leg on that project as well.
That tribute was great.
Yeah.
The tribute from whatever 5 years ago or so was on Access TV, I think.
Yeah,
With all of them, they did Frankenstein. They did a lot of the Ronnie, the unknown Ronnie songs. All of his different bands from what was the kind of 80s band that he was in.
what, HSS.
Right
after
yeah.
Right after Satriani popped, all of a sudden there was a Ronnie Montrose instrumental record in like '88. It was
Oh,
called
yeah?
the Speed of Sound. I think it was called.
Oh, the early Montrose records were at least the two that Sammy were on were great. I mean, I wish they had really brought more of that material. Not that Sammy had
paper money?
a few of them.
Wasn't that
The
one?
first two. Yeah.
They did play with Van Halen on tour, but
Well, it's
Those
funny
are
because
just
do you remember the
great
band Axe?
Axe,
remember
I don't.
Axe,
not
they had a song
necessarily.
called Rock and Roll Party in the Streets back in the early 80s. I think the only one in the chat and the only one on the show that might remember that might be Caleb because we're about the same age.
Everyone's saying
and-
we buffering here or boomerang?
It's possible. But they did on one of their records, they did a cover of I Got the Fire. And the first time I heard that, I thought, well, that's a great song, a fantastic song. Then I heard Iron Maiden do it. And I was like, wow, they're covering Axe. I had no idea.
Bad Motor Scooter, Space Station, was it 9? Space
Number
Station
5.
9? Number 5. I can't remember, but that was some of those are the classics. Yeah, they don't even play them on classic rock radio. Do you ever play those, Paul? Any Montrose?
No, Bad Motor Scooter and Rock Candy are the only two that anybody really knows from Montrose.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, if the YouTube video, if it's buffering, you can jump over to Facebook at Real Johnny Beane on Facebook.
Yeah, it
Are
seems
there
like-
are there
Oh, yeah.
impersonators of Johnny Beane?
Yes,
There are.
there are.
Johnny Beans,
Johnny Bad Beans.
Joey Beans.
Jelly Beans,
Yeah.
Johnny Bag of Donuts.
Johnny Bean Benitez.
Nice. A Jelly Bean Benitez reference.
There you go. Hey,
Nice.
he plucked that Madonna flower, right?
Yeah, before it was like a hot dog being thrown down a hallway.
But that was a great
I
episode.
haven't seen it yet.
Well, then we can't give it
Oh.
away. You gotta get it. You gotta watch it on demand or whatever.
Yeah.
Find last weekend's Family Guy because it's friggin' awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, should have been called Star Wars guy. I mean Star Wars for fuck's sake.
Van Halen guy.
Van Halen guy.
It was
Because I was
really
watching
good.
the Star Wars ones too. I was binge watching Family Guy, all the Star Wars ones, and then some of the recent ones.
Yeah, Caleb, you'll love it. So I won't give it away.
All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah, I might have put it in the Discord actually.
It was
Did
on
you?
the Van Halen newscast.
It's somebody put it on YouTube, and the way they got around it being taken down was if you watch the YouTube version of it, like it looks normal. Then
I was
all of a sudden-
wondering.
and then every like 5 seconds, it zooms in real closely to like a part of the script.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
it's,
there's all different ways to get around.
so it's yeah.
Yeah, people that film their television.
Put it upside down, or that was the old way. They used to put it upside
Yeah.
down or mirror.
They reverse the image. All the Simpsons on YouTube, it's all reversed. The images, yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, I definitely Seth MacFarlane is a Van Halen fan. Even in American Dad, there's been a lot of references to it anyway.
American
Awesome.
Dad. Did you like that show?
I like American Dad. It's still on.
I liked
It
it,
is?
when I liked it when
It's
Roger.
on TBS now.
Oh
I
my
like-
gosh.
I liked it when Roger would spew the goo when he got nervous, and they did away with that after the first season because they thought it was a little ejaculatory.
Just a little.
So the censors were like,
Spew the
"No, we can't
goo."
do that
Yeah.
anymore." Plus, I love that he was based on Paul Lind.
Yeah.
Roger.
Yeah,
That was funny.
Let's see. I always take a picture of like the Van Halen references. Let's see if I think I do have a couple of.
John Biel.
There we go. No, one of them was he's holding the. Well, I'll see if I can find it. Anyway, aside from that, what else is going on?
What's the scratching noise?
That's my mouse.
Oh, okay.
I have a
There
scroll
it
wheel.
is.
I apologize.
Yep, the OU812.
Very cool.
That's what I do.
Yeah, does anybody know anybody who turned 70 yesterday?
Yesterday?
Actually, you can look up celebrity birthdays.
Because their birthday
Yeah.
is 5150.
Oh wow,
How
Five
cool is
one.
that?
1950.
That is a level of nerd I did not expect.
Yes. Well, actually, you know,
Thus-
I put the birthday. You know, like on Twitter, you can have your birthday up. For Nerd Halen, I put May 1st, 1950.
Well, you can search any
A
year
while ago.
and what happened in that year, and I stupidly, without thinking, I put 5150 in, and what happened in 5150? Obviously, nothing has happened in 5150. But I was
Not-
like,
Not
Well,
yet.
actually, the
Not
Jewish
yet.
calendar. Yeah, the Jewish calendar.
The
Took me
Chinese
about-
calendar.
30 seconds to
Yeah.
figure that out. Wait a minute.
5150. But anyway, I posted that in Eddie Van Halen yesterday on
That's
Facebook, but I got a bunch of foreigners saying, actually, that's January 5th.
January
Yeah.
5th, yes.
Oh, okay.
January 5th over here.
European
I'm like,
calendar.
okay, all right, take it easy.
Last time I remember, the score was USA 1, Europe 0.
Yeah. Yeah. Facebook's a weird place, man.
Thank you,
You know?
John. Nailed it.
There you go.
I posted the video from yesterday. I plastered it, everywhere. And you guys huh?
Peter North did everywhere.
Yeah. And you guys know that I run a Van Halen page on Facebook.
Hmm.
Why? Do you even like Van Halen?
I do.
Oh,
I do.
He mentioned that a few weeks ago.
But I renamed the page Van Halen 78 to 84 because when I took over somebody gave me the page and it's obvious that it's got like 15,000 people in there, and they're mostly diehard early era people. It's very obvious.
Because that's the one that matters.
It's very obvious. And so anyway, so I shared my video from yesterday in there, and somebody commented, they're like, this has nothing to do with Van Halen. It's like
Where's
nothing
the
to do with Van
moderator?
Halen, and the guy's like telling me, to leave the group. He's like, get out of here. This has nothing to do with Van Halen. Leave. And so I'm like, dude, this is my page. I just talked to Billy Sheehan. He mentioned some great Van Halen stuff. And the guy's like, I don't care. Get out of here,
You should have been like, now this page. Now this page has nothing to do with you.
With you.
Yeah. I know. No, I left him in there though. I'd rather.
You left him in to wallow in self-pity.
No, because he's going to be furious now that you won't leave. You've now become his nemesis.
Yeah, it was weird. It was very strange. But
do you know what nemesis means?
Oh, the best. I love it. A righteous act of vengeance carried out by the appropriate agent. In this case, a horrible cunt.
A horrible cunt. Me. Why don't you put us some tea? Put us some tea, Errol. Be a good boy.
Stop me against whilst I'm walking, and I'll cut your Jacobs off.
Yeah, Jacobs off.
All right, what movie is that?
Snatch.
One of the greatest
Brad
movies
Pitt.
of all time.
It's
Such a
so good.
fantastic movie.
Didn't he make up his own language for that, or
No, it's Cockney.
Okay, it's just Cockney. Yeah, I couldn't understand
Yeah,
it. That was the best part about the trailer.
Brad Pitt has a bit part in it. He's amazing.
He's fantastic at it. Should have won an Academy Award for it. Should have been his first Academy Award.
Benicio del Toro. That was who's the director?
Statham was one of his first films.
First leading
Guy-
movies, yeah.
Guy
Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie.
And he wasn't even like a badass in it. He didn't punch anybody.
There was no violence on his part at all in the movie. It was great. He was a comedy.
Yeah,
He was
it
sort of
really
the
good.
straight man in the whole movie.
Check it out.
Did he do Train Spotting? Was that Guy Ritchie?
Yeah, I think that's his big one.
That was before. I think that was before. And Lock, Stock, and Two Barrels.
Two Smoking Barrels, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that one because Sting was in it.
No,
Sting, and I cut off his new album. Take it away.
Snatch is fantastic. Has the late Dennis
Snatch is-
Farina in it.
Snatch is so good.
Yeah, it's a
Check it
great
out.
movie.
Yeah,
You'd love it.
The new one. He did a new one recently. Can't think of it.
Anyway, if you haven't seen Snatch,
Thank you.
if you haven't seen it,
Knives
just
Out.
enjoy
I've never seen
yourselves.
Well, that's what got me in the predicament I'm in.
Enjoy yourselves. There's so many movies I
No,
wish
that
I
wasn't
hadn't
him.
seen just so I could watch them again.
Well, you
That's the
just
first time.
I own a collector's copy of Snatch with like cards and chips in it, like poker chips and shit like that. For the whole Frank, for Frankie Four Fingers. Like it's a cool little like a collector's piece type of that. And the only reason I bought it was for the deck of cards and the chips, because I'd seen the movie so many times. But to have Snatch poker chips, fucking game on.
Snatch poker, huh?
Giggity.
Poker snatch.
Yeah, there's so many lines. You know, like when you're with your friends and you just bust lines from movies. There's like 57 lines in this movie that you'll remember forever. It's so good.
On account of your gun says replica down the side, and mine says Desert Eagle 5.0. Now fuck off.
Now fuck off.
Fuck off.
So good.
I've never seen it.
Oh, you'd love it. Jay, you would love that movie. It's
Yes.
right up your alley. Yeah. Fun movie.
So good.
Well, Renus Pinkle seems to have got his wife pregnant.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Says they're having his alter ego got his wife pregnant. Not him.
Oh,
His alter
His
ego.
clone?
Okay.
His
Yeah.
clone?
his Renus works.
It does. Apparently.
Congratulations.
Wow, congratulations.
When is she due?
He's got to ask the one who did it.
And can we name the child?
There you go. That's the most
Combine all our names. How can we do that?
Oh, I don't know.
How about John
Halloween.
BL 5150?
Yeah.
Neander Nerd. Neander Nerd Bean.
BL 5150.
It's all
Neander
yours,
John
Joel.
BL.
7 over nerd.
Johnny Bean Halen.
7 over Nerd Pinkle. Last name Pinkle.
Yeah. Nerd Pinkle.
Nerd Pinkle.
Neander Halen.
Neander Pinkle.
Oh my goodness.
Nerdander Paul.
Nerdander Paul.
Nerdander Paul.
I like Neander Pinkle.
Over 8.
Yeah,
Over
Neander
8.
Pinkle over 8. To be fair, it should be named after the father.
Well, there's Pinkle. That's
Wow,
He's
wouldn't that be
gonna
great
get
if
that.
he actually named his kid Pinkle?
What if that's like his grandfather's name and you just
Pinkle?
like shit all over it?
I didn't shit on it. No, I want him to name it Pinkle. Like, you guys think I have an ulterior motive. Like, I genuinely want you guys to do this shit. Like when John, like 2 weeks ago, when John put that shit neck on this.
Oh,
on that
yeah.
gamer.
What's the update?
Now I'm here. Now we can really get at it.
Oh, yeah.
this is all I'm gonna do.
Oh, is that the new neck that you bought?
Yep, this is the $45 neck. So there you go.
Oh,
It looks all right. It's not
Yeah.
horrible. I gotta put dowels, like Dave said. I'll put dowels in because I think that was what was wrong with this to begin with, because it doesn't match any
no.
holes.
Let's see the headstock, though.
It's the same. It's pretty much the same as this is a Warmouth. So
It's backwards.
yeah, there you go. Should do a double neck like that.
Oh, double neck would be good.
Wait a minute.
It's a cheap, I don't think it's Warmouth, but it's
Is
a
it?
full maple.
I don't
got
think that's even wood. Look
It's
at the
not either.
shine. Look at the
particle board.
Paper mache.
It's definitely at least 2 pieces. You can see and then it's the fretboard is there's a cap, which you have to kind of do unless you're going to do a skunk stripe. Anyway, that's the end of the update. So there you go. It will be a real guitar at some point. So
That was
it'll
quick.
be a
I'm not gonna
guitar
lie to
that
you,
will
John.
Stay in tune, and it'll work.
By the end of this show, which is another hour and a half away, that will be the most entertaining highlight.
Good.
Trust us.
Good.
That was good.
Thank you.
Not
Well,
even wood.
Amanda thought of a good name for baby Pinkle.
Baby
Caleb,
Pinkle.
Paul and Johns.
What is it?
Caleb, Paul, and Johns.
Oh my goodness.
Caleb.
There you go. Caleb.
That is
Caleb's
good.
a good name.
Caleb, Paul, and John.
That is good.
Yes, man.
There's no Johnny in there.
Caleb, Paul, and John's
Oh,
5150.
I guess
Well,
there's John.
Johnny and John. We're both
That's
John.
true.
Me and
I like-
BL are lumped into the same.
Johnny is a JOH.
Me and BL are lumped into the ending.
Yeah, just and me and Caleb, if we ever found each other in each other's butts, that would be our
Oh,
that would be our
man.
kid's name right there. We'd
There
have
you
to
go.
name him Caleb.
Wow.
Quick,
Paul and
get-
John's, yeah.
quick, get me John Mancuda. There's been an anal reference.
You can't really have "and" as part of the name either. I don't know. John Paul, it can be very biblical because the John Paul and
George.
is there a J in biblical? Jason biblical?
No,
Joseph.
just
No.
July, August, September, October, November.
That's the name of this show right now. It's Caleb, Paul, and John's.
There you go.
What happened to your audio?
What? I'm hello.
He's way off. He's
There you
way
go.
off the mic.
Yeah, get
Sorry.
that microphone closer to you. Like we practiced. Put it closer to your mouth.
Yeah. I yelled at Nesdal for sitting like that.
I'm sure he took
And-
that well.
Oh, no.
Well, there's a reason why he didn't take it well. It's all about the delivery, Johnny. How you drop
Oh.
something off, how you deliver something to somebody. It could be the best thing ever, but if you deliver
Yeah.
it in their face,
But I was on the phone with you, right? Weren't we actually on the phone when I sent that text?
Oh,
No.
We're talking about something on the air that shouldn't be talked about.
No,
Yeah,
don't-
but it's,
I'm lost.
yeah, don't get me lumped into here. I'm not.
it's
I'm
been
not
a couple.
getting a phone
It's been a
call.
couple. It's been a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Tim Christensen has a question.
Good.
He said, getting us out of this predicament. Would a
Go
new
for it.
studio Van Halen recording sound okay with Michael Anthony backing up Dave on vocals? The answer is yes. It would sound fucking awesome.
Michael Anthony still get the chops. Dave does
Mi-
too.
Yeah, no. And you can do anything in the studio. Right, Jay?
With the exception of making David Lee Roth. yes, we pretty much can. I mean, listen to the listen to the latest Van Halen record.
Yeah, you can comp anything, man. You can comp anything.
Or
in
even
studio.
the later Kiss shows that Dave that are online with Dave opening. Some of
Well, that's
the earlier ones were hard to listen to, but the later ones he really did.
Well, that's what happens when you get a full pitch corrector
better.
in the chain.
Well, if that's what it takes,
They would probably rely on Michael Anthony a little more now, because
Sure.
than they used to.
Well,
Even
if
though
you notice,
listen to those Van Halen records, those early ones, man. Michael Anthony he's all over those records. His voice.
and as far as much as I hate what Eddie did on Van Halen 3, Eddie's vocals on the early Van Halen records in the middle are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
They really do well. He's in the middle there. He lays right in between Roth and Michael in a
they
great way.
definitely complimented each other beautifully.
I've always found it hard to pick Eddie's vocal out of the mix, but I mean, once in a while, like you're saying, once in a while you can.
Well,
you
when
can
you
really
see them
hear
playing live, sometimes like in Chain and Unchained and stuff like that, when he brings in the Chained, you're like, wow, all right, he's not bad. Like in that range.
Oh yeah, he's always.
I wouldn't. I would never expect him to sing
Wolf.
leads.
Well, there are guys, and I'm one of them, that if I'm singing a harmony, if I'm backing up somebody else's voice, it'll sound fine because I can hit notes. But my voice on its own sucks.
Well, it's easy for you because you have a reference note to play with.
Yes, and that's
Yeah, when you've got someone that can hit that note and you go, okay, I can get the third or the fifth on that, great. But if they say, hey, sing that third or that fifth solo, you go, shit, what am I going to do? It's a chemistry thing, and that's why bands record live, because some people can pull it off live, but they can't do it if you comp it track by track.
Yeah, I was learning Drop Dead Legs today, and the vocals on that, the backing vocals on that, are as good as any Van Halen song, and you can hear there's a mixture of Eddie and Mike in that.
I was even
Drop Dead Legs, that part, it's as good as it gets.
But you don't hear it until you isolate it.
Well, and just that mix on 1984 was very unique. I was texting you guys a week or so ago about the cymbals, which we all know kind of were supposedly overdubbed, and listen to the mix in the stereo with headphones, and it's very kind of a unique mix, kind of like a workaround mix that they kind of had to do for that, early on in the 5150 studios. You can kind of hear the different layers of it.
Has anybody read the new book? I hope.
Is it out yet?
What, the Templeman book?
It is. Yeah.
Not yet.
I believe.
Well, I'm gonna order it right now if it's out.
I believe he's getting. He gets the whole story on that. So
I will tell you though, you can tell there's overdubbing done in Drop Dead Legs specifically because that ride cymbal is way high in the mix.
There's an offset. I texted you guys in whichever song it was. There's two hi-hats going on at the same time out of time.
You said I'll wait.
Is it I'll wait? It might have been.
You said I'll wait. You said
there's a specific time. Yeah, you listen. I sent you guys.
And speaking of that new book, this Friday.
There you go.
This Friday, Greg will be here.
Executed like a professional.
So Greg will know. Greg will know most of the details about how 1984 was recorded without anyone
going to have to get
reading the book.
Audio book of that this week before the show. So I don't want to go in there blind.
And what's Taylor Hawkins doing on the cover of that book?
Hey, Ned.
Who, by the way, sings a mean Van Halen. Taylor Hawkins does a mean Van Halen. Does a great job.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll get the paperback, huh?
Well, Metal Mike 5150 says Mike, Eddie, and Sammy on vocals too.
Oh, they're out of stock.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. Sammy in his book mentions that's the thing that one of the things that he noticed when he joined the band was like, whoa, I didn't realize how much of a part of the sound the Mike's voice actually was.
Well,
I'll take it away from Van Halen for a second. I had an opportunity, and forgive me for the name dropping, but I had an opportunity to interview Michael Sweet from Stryper. in 1986, 87 when they were on the To Hell with the Devil tour. And obviously, Stryper, harmonies are a big deal for that band. And I asked him, I said, well, you know, were you guys in a choral group? Did you get together? He said, look, it's a chemistry thing. Sometimes you can get three voices together in a room and they just click. And that's the situation with Van Halen. Eddie fits in a certain area, but that's the area that needs to be filled for Van Halen. Because Michael can go anywhere he needs to go, and Dave is fairly limited and goes to where he's asked to go, and Eddie fills that spot, and that's perfect. Again, going back to, you cannot create chemistry. It either exists or it doesn't. And Michael and Eddie work really well together, and you can put Sammy on one side or Dave on the other side, and it still works.
Yeah.
If you want to hear a chorus or a Van Halen song where Eddie, to my ear, is the primary voice during a harmony, it's when they say Summer Nights in Summer Nights.
5150, you can definitely hear his vocals on that.
You can hear like the way his S's are. Like,
and also
that chorus.
If you want to really hear Eddie's part of every song, you know, up to 1983, you know, watch the US Festival on YouTube. You know, it hasn't been doctored or anything, so it's literally just the two voices together.
Raw audio,
yeah. And there's such a gap between the notes that those two guys are hitting that you can. It's so obvious to hear Eddie, you know, especially like Jamie's crying or something. You can hear what he's doing as opposed to what Michael's doing. You know.
Yeah, Jamie's crying and Unchained too. Eddie has a little bit of a rasp in Unchained that's really good. That even in a live environment sounds nice.
They were always about the harmonies, even from the first, you know, from day one.
That was Dave's. You know, the secret to the band, you know,
right
in his eyes was people have to dance to this, and we have to have like a Beach Boys type harmony thing going.
Even
on.
Look at the 79 promo. What did they open the 79 promo with? Hello, hello, hello. They all, you know,
little Three Stooges homage.
Oh yeah, also, but I mean, it's still they were all. I mean, they did it in perfect harmony.
Listen to Happy Trails.
Another one, yeah.
Happy Trails, because it's completely a cappella. That's great.
Yeah.
Again, limited, but knowing your limitations and filling that spot was fantastic. Michael is clearly the best singer that's ever been in the band.
Yeah. Well, he just does notes that no one can do.
Right.
And
he has the most range. Well, Sam, come on, Sammy's the best singer that they've ever had in that band.
We don't know. See, here's the thing.
Gary's don't know.
We don't know what Michael could have done.
Well, you know,
as a lead vocalist, we'll never know.
He sings "Somebody Get Me a Doctor" on the '98.
When his voice blows at the Australia show.
He sings "Jump" and
it's the best, man.
Right here, right now. That was terrible.
But I think Sammy. A lot of people don't give him credit for that 5150 record, man.
Oh no, the notes in in the song 5150 are phenomenal.
And Dreams, Dreams alone is
yeah.
Holy shit! And I think it's one of those things where, like, when you hear him sing, it you can tell it's natural for him, so it doesn't feel like, whoa, that's hard. But when you actually not because I'm not a singer, but nobody can really mimic Sammy Hagar, and people that try are like, this guy, I can't even attempt to do some of the stuff that he used to do.
Dave Meniketti can do it.
Who's that?
Dave Meniketti from Y&T has a very Sammy Hagar-like voice. Very similar. Not quite the range, nowhere near the range, but tonally very, very similar.
I'll have to check it out.
And also, if you go back and I forget which tour it was. Which tour was it when everybody took a verse in "Why Can't This Be Love"? When Eddie goes up to that microphone and grabs that vocal, you kind of go, "Oh shit, I didn't know."
Yeah,
must have
93. 93, they started doing that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that on a video?
Huh?
Is there a video of it?
I think it's on the Toronto. It might be on the Toronto pay-per-view.
Yeah.
95.
93 to 95 that they were doing that.
Oh, I want to see that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They go into the second verse, and all of a sudden Eddie goes up to a mic and he takes a single, like a lead solo vocal, and you go, "Oh shit, I didn't see that coming."
I don't remember that. Yeah.
He takes the second. Mike does the first part. Eddie does the second part.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which I think was great.
There was a few one-off on that tour. Unchained, it was the only tour they did that in '93.
You know,
Yeah.
Amanda brings up an amazing point right now, and I never thought of it like this until right now. She says Sammy's vocals are more fun to sing, and obviously this is all opinion. And it just made me think of something. Dave's vocals are more fun to say because it was, like that tongue in cheek, a lot of
Sure.
like, just badass stuff. You just like under your breath, like, some of the stuff you say. But Sammy is obviously, this is obviously opinion, but, the Sammy stuff more fun to sing. Dave stuff more fun to say.
Sammy is a better singer.
Good point.
Dave is a better lyricist.
Yes.
Better front man.
Well, but I think Dave's the best front man of all time, in my opinion. But that's because that's my era, and
He's the original. He's almost the
very
original.
young
Well,
age. That was
Me
except
too.
for Robert Plant, he's like the original front man.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Dave, you've got Robert Plant, you've got Freddie Mercury,
Mick Jagger's.
you've got Mick Jagger,
Jagger. Yeah,
Yeah,
Mick
Jagger's the
Jagger.
original.
Roger
Jagger's the
Dal-
original.
I'll give yeah.
Roger Daltrey.
And even
and then you got Axl, man. Axl's right up there with the best of them too. Just as
Steven
far as
Tyler.
Black Oak, Arkansas.
Tyler,
Yeah, Jim Dandy. Jim Dandy
Dandy.
is where Dave stole his whole shtick from.
see,
Yeah.
that brings up a great point. You guys mentioned him. I think it was last week's show because I was listening to the show, and somebody brought up Jim Dandy, and I always kind of think about this with like Pantera, right? I don't want to switch topics too fast, but Pantera were a hair metal band. If the internet was around when Pantera broke, people would have seen them and heard that music, and in my opinion, I think their credibility would have been completely, I don't want to say destroyed, but who knows what would have happened, because people, especially in America, like they see that you're something else, and all of a sudden, like a year or two later, you're this like extreme metal band. Something's weird like that. What if the internet was around?
Oh, you mean the
When
kind of the
Van
switch
Halen
that
broke.
Pantera took?
Yeah, when Van Halen broke, all of a sudden people are like, "Wait a minute, check out this link on YouTube, man. This guy Jim Dandy, like, did Roth steal his whole shtick from this guy?"
Yeah.
Well, and there's there's an argument to be made. Keep in mind that Pantera made 3 records with Terry Glaze on lead vocals before Anselmo joined the band. So they made 1 glam record with Anselmo, and then obviously made their switch over.
Yep.
Alice in Chains was a glam band before 1991. They were wearing hairspray and playing a little bit, and it was Alice in Chains, just like Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, if the internet existed back then, we would have known how many different bands copped from other different bands. And if you look at Jim Dandy, all right, Jim Dandy begat David Lee Roth, begat Jesse James Dupree from Jackal. That's just, if you look at that picture of Jim Dandy with the tambourine on him, that might as well be a chainsaw. I mean, that's Jesse from Jackal. He copped from him too. Jim Dandy doesn't get anywhere near the credit he gets.
But taking influence from somebody is one thing, but when you completely rip a guy's persona, and basically nobody knew it. Nobody had
washboard.
Right, yeah. But even almost the pants with the tassels on the boots.
Yep. The on stage, like the movements.
Yeah.
He ripped it, man.
I mean, that's definitely like right there. That's the fair warning look right there.
Absolutely.
Right there. And this was years before that.
Yeah. Did Jim Dandy, it sounds weird even saying it, but did anybody, like, did he ever come out and like, this guy ripped me off, man?
I think he was asked about it at one point and said he was flattered by the fact that he was being recognized. And I think that's a class way to deal with it.
Yeah, that is.
I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, there is a
look at this.
There's an argument to be made that Axl stole his entire stage persona from a guy named Richard Black, who was the lead singer for Shark Island.
Look at that circus. That's Jim Dandy.
Yeah, I know.
That looks just like Roth.
Yeah.
What year was that?
Zoom in on the date.
You can't, it's too
should be in the upper
small.
left-hand corner.
Yeah, it's
right there, Bob Dylan. It says 74 right there.
Oh my God.
All right.
So that's got to be 74, 75.
So it's 2 years, 3 years before Dave becomes part of the scene.
Wow, man.
Yeah, I mean, even the shirt, the
hairstyle.
No homo, but the abs.
Yep. But I mean, even if you watch like his him perform, the movements and all that stuff, man.
So therein lies the difference. You can take a guy's stage performance, all right? You can steal his character. The character in and of itself, Black Oak, Arkansas never wrote a song as good as Van Halen.
Yeah, no shit.
So what you do is you see something, you go, aha, that combined with what we do is going to take us over the top. And give credit where credit is due. As much as Dave is not the greatest singer in the world, he certainly was a businessman and a marketer. He took enough from Gene Simmons during that experience together. He knew how to get attention, whether it was, Monkey Hour or whatever it is that he was doing, that he knew if I act in a certain way, I'm going to get attention and bring people through the front door, and here's my guitar player. He knew I don't have a whole lot of talent outside of being able to get attention. So I'm going to get some attention, and then this guy here is going to hit the home run.
Well, like you say, you do what you're good at. And, if
Right.
you're limited in a certain aspect, and that being an entertainer it's just, that's what I'm saying. Like when you watch Van Halen live, like those old videos, like his vocals are nothing to say, oh, wow, listen to that. But when you had to watch him. You have to watch Roth when he's on stage. Not anymore, but I'm saying those old shows, man, it was just, you had to watch them.
Yep. I got to pee and get beer.
All right.
So who's the other guy? Mark Farner.
Grand Funk Railroad.
Grand Funk.
He
Yeah,
introduced the spandex.
the guy that played the guitar that you almost had. He's in Grand Funk now.
Who
I met
was
him.
that?
The guy in Kiss.
Oh, that I almost had. I didn't have.
Well, the guitar that you were playing.
Okay.
What's
Wait.
article, Johnny?
I don't know. But
This one?
Jim Danny. Well, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
There you go.
Great.
and where'd Caleb go? I just noticed everybody's disappearing.
But I was talking about a few weeks ago the California Jam 1974, which took place in around Anaheim, or it was the Ontario Motor Speedway somewhere near LA, and that was Black Oak, Arkansas, Black Sabbath, not Dio, what was it? Deep Purple. So I would bet that in this was 1974. I would bet Van Halen probably went to that, and it was 300,000 people. It was one of the biggest, and so I'm sure that they probably saw all those bands live several times. I mean, because they were probably definitely going to see those shows whenever any other. And I think they even talk about going to see Queen together at some point in the mid 70s, in one of the books. But yeah, think about the concerts that that Van Halen went to go see early on. I mean, and not only their influences, but because obviously Black Sabbath, they were on tour with them and that kind of thing. And the people that once they were kind of established, they were, influenced upon, further upon like touring kind of stuff, like partying like Sabbath and that kind of thing. But obviously the bands that they had seen live, before they were, famous, like in early 70s and that Genesis. I don't know. Well, actually, I don't think they knew about Genesis because they had their name was Genesis for a while.
Well, that's how they discovered them.
Genesis. Yeah,
because they had that same name.
They were kind of influenced by them at some point. But,
did I tell you? I know a guy who was in Genesis,
like with Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
The Van Halen version of that
Wow.
band. I know a guy that grew up with them.
That's cool.
And
it's like with the bass player, the old Matt.
Yeah, this guy played guitar. There's actually a picture of this guy and Eddie playing guitar together.
Well, you posted it the other day.
When they're kids.
13-year-old Ed, right? Pull that picture up. Wasn't that
that?
Somebody on your
posted that,
13-year picture with 13-year-old Ed, and you said, "Oh, I already know that guy."
Yeah. I said in the comments. Yeah, the guy. I know him.
I remember that picture, which is like, God, he looks so young. I mean, a 13-year-old kid. That's funny.
Yeah. I won't mention the guy's name, but yeah, he found me, and he happened to be in the area, and we met up for dinner, and he was telling me all these stories.
That's awesome. Yeah,
incredible. Yeah, this was years ago. This was
the Broken Combs. Was
like 4 years ago.
Daddy Longlegs, Red Ball Jet. Let's talk about all the old Mammoth. The different names that they had before it was. But I think some of them were Dave's. I think Red Ball Jet was Dave's, or Mike's. What was Mike's was Snake.
Mike's was Snake. Red Ball Jets was Dave's band.
Yeah, this
Hey,
guy
Rico B.
and playing bass, and he was bitching. This guy's bitching, man. And the power goes out. Remember that interview?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the one from '88.
Yeah.
The one from '88. It's like this. It's like raw footage, that interview, and they get to Mike, and Mike starts talking, and the power goes out.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll put it in the Discord.
That's a good one. They're like crammed on this like love seat. The four.
Which one was that? Was that part of the Unleashed, or was that?
It was it was 0812. It was a pre-Monsters of Rock interview.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
it's
posted
like,
that.
it's something like say something nice or say something about the guy to your right or left. I forget what it was. And Eddie's on all the way on couch left. And
yeah, and you could kind of feel like the tension, like Ed had to try and say something nice about everybody else or about Mike or about
something nice about the guy I took some
yeah.
royalties away from.
Right. Well, in 1984, I said no. But the Bob Costas interview, I posted that in the Discord a couple days ago. That was a good one from '92, I think.
Yeah, that one's funny because you can still see Eddie and Sammy like still liked each other.
It's at the end of that like happy time. Yeah.
Yeah. When Bob Costas said, "So Eddie, you have one kid, right?" And Eddie smiles and goes, "Yep." And Sammy goes, "Well, that he knows of." And Sammy's like, or Eddie's like, "What? What? Come on!"
They had the banter back and forth, definitely.
Yeah, they still had the still like goofing around with each other
for another year or so, and then things got political.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It sucks. Like I've said this before on here, guys, but you know, like a couple of years ago, maybe like a year and a half ago or something, my parents came over, and I had Live Without a Net on, you know. And it was like summer nights when Eddie and Sammy are dancing at the end of the song together, you know? And my dad said, he's like, man, it's crazy how these guys, like they were in love then. You know, I've said it before too, the same way. That's it.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one.
And to know what's going on with them now, it's totally strange.
Yeah. It's all ego though. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's like, how hard is it to just make amends and just get it out of the way?
It is power cut.
The power goes out.
Yep.
What was that for? Like a morning show or something? Like the Today Show?
When they did those interviews, they did them for everybody.
Right, and then everyone could use them.
So you've definitely seen clips from this over the years.
Oh, I know, I've seen. Yeah,
but you haven't seen this whole thing. Unless you've seen this. This is the.
I've definitely seen the whole thing. I've just like you, Johnny. I've looked up every clip possible.
Where the power goes out.
I think that's one of the ones where Sammy actually takes Eddie's Beck's and takes a swig of it or two. You know,
was that during Monsters of Rock or was it the OU812 later in that year? 88?
This was Monsters of Rock, because I remember seeing clips of this interview before I saw them.
Do you know what date it was? I wonder where they were.
88.
What?
Oh, you mean this?
Like Entertainment Tonight or some shit, right? Isn't it? Or the
date it was broadcast?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, this is just called Van Halen, the Raw and Uncut interview.
Does it say though in the description when it was broadcast?
It probably does.
And that's the one.
You just don't want to look at it.
when the interviewer, what was her name? The chick with like the red hair or some shit. She says, "What?"
Tabitha Soren?
No, that's MTV. This was like
the chick from Radio 1990 on USA.
You never see her in this.
Not in the intro. You don't. When they're like talking about the interview, or am I talking about a different interview then?
Oh no, you didn't see anybody in the beginning of this. No.
Is it a female though talking?
Yeah.
Yeah. The funny part is when she asks Sammy, she's like, "Sammy, so what's different now that you're in Van Halen instead of, you know, on your own?" He's like, "Nothing really." And Eddie goes, "Bullshit. You don't have to write your music anymore."
The woman you're thinking about, Jay, is Lisa Robinson.
That's who it is?
That's who you're thinking of. That's the red-haired girl that you're thinking of.
Okay. Yeah, she had the 8.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, she used to host Radio 1990 on USA, which was like their video show.
Yeah, Lisa Robinson. She's the one that did the really cool. I used to have them on vinyl. I still have them now. I digitized them years ago. She did interviews with Eddie and Dave, and they were available on vinyl. They were radio station vinyl interviews.
She
But
was the
the-
one that like they did a week worth of Van Halen, and like it was like little vignettes of her talking to Dave, and they made
Yeah.
it like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
serial.
But the one part that all you diehard guys would know is when Eddie plays Crossroads on the guitar. That was for her. She was watching while he was playing that.
Yeah, I remember that one.
She had short red hair. Came across sort of like a. Do you remember Rona Barrett?
Mm-hmm.
Rona Barrett was like a consumer reporter or an investigative reporter for I want to say ABC or NBC back in the day. And Lisa Robinson was sort of a rock journalist version of Rona Barrett.
I thought Rona Barrett was more like an entertainment reporter.
I thought she was a Consumer Reports reporter, but I could be wrong. I'll defer to you on that one. Maybe you're older than me.
Maybe. Probably. Am I the oldest one here? Yeah.
I am.
Yeah, I
you're
think
not.
Johnny is.
No, he was in school in 1992 or 91. Okay. He gave it away.
Yeah.
I graduated in 86.
Let that one slip. All right. You're a year older than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Graduated in '86.
Yeah, but I act a lot younger.
Yeah. I'm halfway between 51 and 50.
Ooh.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ooh, Vistalite brings it up. She might have been a gossip writer. It's a good point.
All right. Gossip.
Yep, she might have been a gossip writer.
But I ain't one to gossip. You ain't heard that from me. Remember that? What was that?
Because you ain't heard what that would be from In Living Colors with that. Because I ain't one to gossip. But you didn't hear that from me. It's funny. I couldn't tell you who the 19th president of the United States is, but I can tell you anything about In Living Color.
That's where Jim Carrey got his one of his.
Yeah, some of Jim Carrey stuff is like.
What was the female bodybuilder? What was her name?
Ah, that's so gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would based somewhat on Nicole Bass, bringing us back to the Howard Stern show.
Yes.
And I loved when Damon Wayans would walk onto the subway with the jar full of piss and shit.
Oh yeah. It's like
Shit,
it's like a
And the
pickle in there.
drunk homeless guy. Allow
Yeah.
me to prognosticate upon my flatulence.
Homie the clown.
Accuse me, people. And with that impression, I am reminded that Mike Tyson is apparently training for a comeback at 53.
That's what I saw too.
Wow.
He's just going to do exhibitions, but looking at him training, looks like he could still knock out half the heavyweight division.
Yep. Like that's like that little training video is like textbook. Like,
Yeah,
you can't
it's
throw
ugly.
better than that. You really can't.
Well, and here's the thing. Again, as a 52-year-old, and Mike is a year older, I will tell you, it was just like before Ali died. Obviously, he had Parkinson's, and they would introduce him before fights every once in a while. And not unlike Ozzy, they would bring him out from backstage. He would have the robe on, and he would be like, really sort of shuffling to get to the ring. They put him in the ring. They'd open the ropes for him so he would get in the ring. And then the announcer would go, "And now the greatest, Muhammad Ali." And he would go into his thing for like 30 seconds. And for 30 seconds, it was Muhammad Ali. And it was the Muhammad Ali we all loved. And you're like, oh my God, that's a legend. That's the guy we've been. But he can only do it for 30 seconds. And that's the unfortunate part about what we saw from Mike Tyson. That video looks awesome, and you can't throw punches better than that. And he looks devastating, but it was 9 seconds.
Yep.
Put him in the ring. Yeah, put him in the ring for 3 minutes and see if he can hold up like that.
Yeah, all somebody has to do is run away.
Yeah.
For a
It
good
looked
amount of
good.
time.
look good on camera, but man,
just bide your time.
Yeah, Father Time is undefeated.
Let him gas
Well,
out.
except for Bernard Hopkins, he was able to stave off
George Foreman. George
Yeah,
Foreman
but they
came back at 48, right? 49.
Yeah, but again, those guys, they
classic
fought tomato
thing,
cans. I mean, Tommy Morrison wasn't going to beat anybody. And that's the thing. Right now, the heavyweight division, I mean, Mike Tyson's not going to get in there with Tyson Fury. He's not going to get in there with Deontay Wilder. But if they put him in here with like a guy that's in the bottom half of the top 10, he could knock that guy out in a round. No problem.
George Foreman beat Riddick Bowe. Who did he beat?
He beat Tommy Morrison.
Tommy
Morrison and Michael Moore.
Yeah.
Who was
Moore, right.
Yeah, Michael Moore, who was
glass jaw.
Yeah, way, way overrated. So if you put Tyson in against, one of the bottom half of what's going on in the top 10 right now, yeah, he's going to knock that guy out. You put him in a guy that can clean your clock with one shot like Deontay Wilder, who is not a great boxer, but he's got a right hand like a sledgehammer. And he lets Tyson run around for a round or two, and suddenly those 53-year-old legs start to catch up with him, and he catches him with an overhand right. He's in a coma.
Yeah, and Tyson never had good legs. I mean, good spring in him, but he never had good,
He had great power, but he couldn't. He wasn't a guy that you were looking to go 12 rounds with.
He's not a dancer, for sure.
No, but again, in his prime, when he was being trained by Kevin Rooney and Teddy Atlas and Cus D'Amato, if they had stayed together for his entire career, he would be unequivocally the greatest heavyweight champion in the history of boxing.
I agree with that.
He had upper body movement and hand speed that was unequaled by anybody in heavyweight history. The problem is he got famous. Don King got his hooks into him. Robin Givens got her hooks into him.
Yeah, if those two people didn't get to Tyson,
it
would have been a different story.
Yeah,
sure.
Unfortunately, that did happen, and it's another tragic story. But he could have been as great as anybody that has ever. He could have been Sugar Ray Robinson in the heavyweight division.
Well, he was for those first few years. We were all watching it. It was Tiger Woods.
Yeah, it was Wayne Gretzky, Tiger Woods. You name whatever legend in their respective sport.
Say, well, the heavyweight division then was like kind of in between generations. There was really no Trevor Berbick was the guy he beat for the title.
Bruce Seldon, Trevor Berbick. I mean, all those guys.
Right. But Mitch Blood Green, who he actually never knocked out. I think he went the distance twice with him, right?
Yeah.
Didn't Larry Holmes? Did he take the title from Larry Holmes?
He beat Larry Holmes, and then he beat Marvis Frazier, and then he knocked out
Spinks.
Michael Spinks, who was an undersized. He was a light heavyweight fighting in the heavyweight division.
Came back. I don't think he was a heavyweight until he actually came out of retirement to fight Tyson.
No, and then he beat a guy. The next guy that was supposed to be the next great big thing was a guy named Lawrence Clay Bay, and Tyson cleaned him out of the ring. I don't know. We'll never know because, yes, he was dominant, just like Vladimir Klitschko. He was dominant in a time when there were a whole lot of – it's not like he fought when Ali fought, when he had, Frazier and Foreman and all these other guys that were there in front of Ernie Shavers and guys that were phenomenal boxers. Tyson fought. He fought at a time when the heavyweight division was relatively weak. It would have been nice to see. And then when he did fight guys that were good – Evander Holyfield, despite what anybody wants to say about him, undersized heavyweight, phenomenal heart and amazing skills.
And steroids.
And steroids. But he lost.
We figured out how to get the two Johns to not talk.
I know, right? Johnny and I are tuning out for a few minutes.
Yeah, just got a message from John BL.
I know. Yeah, Johnny, a link of something else we could talk about.
Yeah, but Tyson is the perfect example of a 21-year-old millionaire who's on top of the world, and you get it's just like that's the thing. All of us, most people in the world, you dream about being, whether it's on stage, whether it's in an arena, whether it's in space, whatever it is. I'm talking about an astronaut, not just being in space cadet, but. And then think of the bands, right? There's like, you strive to become the best. And that's your fire. That's what keeps you going. Well, then when you hit that mountaintop, a lot of people, the fire goes away. They don't have that drive in them still because they achieved what they've been dreaming about achieving their entire lives. And a lot of people get complacent and you'll get lazy.
Yeah.
That's perfect for especially boxing. That boxing is the warrior sport where it's like you're in the ring by yourself. You don't have 10 other guys on the field with you to kind of bail you out.
So let's bring it back to guitar. Eddie Van Halen hasn't done anything innovative in guitar since 1984.
Well, I mean, how much stuff can you possibly keep coming up with?
But that's the point. The point is, you talk about the legacy of something. Well, what has he done?
Well, I mean, even Live Without a Net was the high point to my. I mean, 5150 and Live Without a Net.
No, he's talking about
innovative.
But he had different approaches and different. I don't know. I would say that even 5150, the song was kind of the high point in my.
The only thing after that probably
innovative
is the drill.
Which was Paul Gilbert.
Right, the drill sound though,
right.
Paul Gilbert used it as a pick technique, and Eddie made a noise with it. But it's it's true. I mean, ever since Top Jimmy, going back and forth in your head, there hasn't been an innovative moment on a Van Halen record where you're like, what is that, or how's he doing that?
The drill wasn't a skill thing. The drill was a magnetic response to a motor next to a pickup. If he wanted to be, Paul Gilbert did it better when he put the picks on the drill bit and played the guitar with the drill.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know anything about
Todd Rundgren did that too. Todd Rundgren did that kind of stuff.
Hearing a drill on Pound Cake was my first experience hearing that type of thing. So to me, at the time, like Eddie Van Halen with a drill, and then I forget who it was. One of my friend's brothers or something was like, "You idiot! Paul Gilbert did it." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know."
It wasn't just Paul. Billy Sheehan did it too.
Yeah.
It was.
That's
They had,
right.
Mr. Big had a song called something. It was called the Drill Song.
There's a picture of that.
Yeah, but that was after.
Picture right here.
Was that after Pound Cake? Yeah.
Paul did
No,
it with
it was
Racer
not.
X. Paul did it with Racer X.
I'm talking about Daddy, Brother, Lover, Little Girl on Mr. Big. Well, Lean Into It. They used the drill.
Yeah, but they did. But Paul did it with Racer X.
No, I know.
Mr. Big was even formed.
Was Carnal Knowledge before? Yeah, it was before Lean Into It, right?
Probably
91.
a year before. Yeah, 91. They were both 91, I think.
It was like the same time. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, to give Eddie credit, I don't think he probably ever knew that Paul did the thing with the picks. I just don't think he probably.
Well, it's a different technique too.
Well, I mean, and it's also a variation on the hair dryer, Panama thing.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie's Lamborghini, right?
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Supposedly, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It's his Miura.
No, Paul Gilbert and Bruce Boulez both did that in Racer X.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember seeing like pictures of them holding the drills back when they were playing those fluorescent Ibanez's.
Is that nice, man?
Wearing the spandex. And
So,
stuff.
again, going back to the point,
It's like a reverse Iceman. That's his guitar.
The Fireman, yeah.
Yeah, the reverse. It's but going back to that, I mean, Eddie hasn't done anything. Again, innovative. I didn't say it wasn't good. I didn't say he hasn't done anything good since then, but he hasn't done anything innovative.
What about
over 30 years?
Using Steinberger in the way that he did on a couple of those songs, maybe changing the key in mid song. That's kind of innovative. Nobody ever really. You could do that on an album and get away with it, but doing it live,
I think when Sammy joined, obviously it gave Eddie a lot more room to write, so much more music. And I think at that point there were so many guitar players copying everything Eddie was doing at the time. So I think Eddie, he took everything a step further by writing songs.
Yeah, no, he became more interested in songs than he was as a player. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
I mean, it's widely known that most of the greatest riffs from the Roth era, Eddie wrote in his room when he was 16 years old.
Yeah.
And then he just used them throughout the Roth era. What Sammy came into, what all those songs and ideas that Dave said no to. and all this stuff that Dave thought wouldn't work. And then Eddie goes, "How about this? How about that?" And Sammy's like, "Sure," like.
Yeah, you're gonna join a band and say, "No, I don't like that. No, I don't like that."
Yeah, we need material. Let's do it.
But it opened the floodgates to Eddie's tape cassette vault of stuff that that Dave probably.
I was
didn't
listening
like.
to some of that 74. I emailed or texted Johnny the other week or so ago, and is this really Ed? Because it was just guy noodling and a lot of like elements of like On Fire and some of the early stuff that you could hear.
Yeah, Get Me a Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that is him. That actually is him.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this in the magazine in '88.
Yeah.
Not me. So any song off of 5150, can you hear Dave singing any of those songs?
Summer Nights, I can hear Dave singing. I don't mean with the lyrics that were
No.
written
Yeah,
for it,
no, I'm sorry.
but the music, yeah.
But the music alone.
Aren't there demos? Aren't there some demos of
Which-
him singing some of those early ones? No,
I heard
like 85
I heard someone say that there was some stuff on 5150 that Dave there is demos of Dave singing on.
I mean, Ed was
Yeah.
definitely working on a lot of those tunes. Even the Wildlife stuff was,
I can
Somebody-
also,
hinting at 5150.
Somebody told me that would know that there is recordings of Roth singing over stuff that became
that was-
5150.
that was
Runoff.
said on your-
Runoff
that
would
was
probably
said-
know.
No, that was said on your show a few weeks ago.
Yeah. It was
Okay,
hear-
well, I
Dave-
probably said it then.
no, it was
It
Dave.
was-
Not
the guy
Ned.
that- no, it was the guy that built that got the Becker guitar signed.
Yeah.
Right.
Lopez,
Jason Alex's friend.
Dave Lopez. Yeah.
Yes, Dave Lopez. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
could have
yeah.
heard Roth doing something over Inside too, like the groove of Inside.
Yeah.
Such a great song. I wish we could just go listen to that and kind of analyze that one. It's just
Steinberger.
it's a kind of a crazy one-off song, but it's a good song.
And probably Get Up.
Mhm.
Well, what
'Cause
song?
when you-
did
when-
you say?
it would be a different song if Dave was
You
singing.
just mentioned.
Oh no,
you mentioned-
absolutely.
You mentioned
I'm
all three Steinberger songs.
Right. And I think those are the ones that I think that Roth could have. When you listen to the energy in those songs, those are the ones that I could see Roth, knowing what we know about him, when Eddie goes into the studio and says, "Hey, I've got an idea. This works." Dave going, "Yes, yes, yes" to those songs on that record. And the other stuff is clearly,
What's that?
is right in the middle of Sammy territory. Did someone poop? Did Nerd Halen poop?
No, I just squeaked with my lips. Sorry.
Sure.
But like you say, Sammy territory. It definitely it was that album was made for that particular four people for the most part, and it just wouldn't. It would be a completely different album if it was Dave. But you could hear him doing some of those songs, sure.
It's fun to think of stuff like that,
Well, and the sad part is Gary, who doesn't get a lot of credit for his contributions to the band, at least he was the guy that said, "Tell me what you want me to sing and I'll do it."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
At that
nobody-
point, you're the third singer in the band, or the
No, but
fourth.
that's the good part.
some-
He's like, I love it all. I love it all. Give it to me all. And we had, for lack of a better term, the best of both worlds in that situation and didn't appreciate it at the time.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly.
Hey,
Gary's
Gary, nobody wants to hear the new album. We gotta play the old
No.
stuff, man.
but
That's
the
why I
truth,
say it'd be
though.
great now. I mean, to have Gary go out with them.
Gary
you know.
was screwed by the fact that the material that he sang on was subpar material, because the stuff that he did from the catalog, he did phenomenally. He was fantastic at that. It was like Brian Johnson doing the Bond stuff. He did it with respect in a way. Obviously, he's not that singer, but he paid the proper respect to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, and like Arnel Pineda with Journey, he paid the proper respect to it. Obviously, the quality of the material that came out when Gary was in the band, history has shown, does not hold up.
Yep.
That one.
Yeah, man. Good stuff.
I can't believe it's been 22 years since
Yeah,
that.
Since that album, yeah.
we're old.
I mean, I was when I heard that in what was it, 97? What was it, 96, 97?
98.
Having
98.
having just
22
kind of seen,
years.
having just kind of, well, yeah, I can't add, so I don't know my math. But
I
having
can't
seen-
believe it was 24 years ago. I heard something that came out 22 years ago.
after
96?
yeah.
Was that 1974?
But after Dave did the whole tease on MTV in '96, and then seeing Gary, that was what kind of upset me about the whole thing. It was like, forget it. At this point, you've gone through you've gone through Dave, you've gone through Sammy, you've teased Dave again, and then
Am I the only
which
one
is
that
what
wasn't
everybody
upset by
wanted.
that?
You
I
went
was
through
excited.
You went through
that was it
Mitch.
for me. That was it for me for a good 10 years at that
You
point.
went-
I mean,
You
I was
missed
like,
Mitch. You left out Mitch.
Yeah, Mitch.
and I know. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you
Nobody knew
if you
about
follow,
Mitch back then.
right? If you
Yeah,
follow
nobody
it,
knew.
Although I
in
did, because
hindsight,
Desmond told me that whole story about all that, because it was Desmond
Yeah.
Childs the one that got Mitch in there.
Yeah.
He was telling me about that when I was there with him. But
wouldn't
I
have
was
guessed.
excited when that whole thing with Roth happened on MTV, and then they
and I was
announced,
too, but it was a tease. It was
and then
the
they
worst
announced
tease
that
you
Gary
could
Sharon was
imagine.
going to be there. I was excited to hear.
Dude,
Something new.
We were in a van. I was with Tonic touring, and they said, we got the new Van Halen song. Check this out.
Hey,
And
Crow.
sorry, they said that we got the new Van. It was we were somewhere driving somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and they said we got the new Van Halen song with Dave.
And those
we all
songs were awesome from the.
Yeah, we all just turned it
Yeah.
up and listened
Yeah.
in the van. I mean, that
Greatest hits.
dude, Me Wise Magic was incredible. I mean, I got
Yeah,
chills.
totally.
Like, I think I even started weeping. It was
And
back.
Dave-
Yeah, it was
And
such
Dave
a good
knew
song.
exactly what he was doing too. The first line, I know what you're thinking. Yes, you do. Yes, you do know what we're thinking. God damn, this is awesome.
See, it's weird. I had a different reaction to that. It was, to me, it was like, as soon as the verse kicked in, I was like, wow, Dave really doesn't know what to put here, huh?
No, he knew exactly what to put there. He knew exactly what was going on there. And
Well,
and
He
even
was
on the
growling
even,
with that riff. He was right along with that riff, man. That
and
riff
even with
just balls.
and even with a different kind of truth, when he put the whole look at all the people here tonight, he was like, fuck, he could look at all of the people, and we all went here tonight.
Yeah,
We knew that it was coming. And it
absolutely.
was a
Funny.
cheap pop, and God love him for it, because
Oh,
we
it's
knew
perfect. That was
we knew what we were gonna get out of it.
It's
Um,
like Easter eggs. It's like candy. Yeah, I mean, it's that kind of.
But if
the
you
thing
notice-
that not everybody will get, but it's great.
But if you
homage.
notice, in every Van Halen song, or just about every song on the a different kind of truth record, in the middle of it, he drops down into his little Dave's talking voice,
yeah,
because-
his
bec-
DJ voice.
because we all know he can't hit the highs anymore. So he
Getting a little bit hot
replaces,
tonight.
he replaces that lack of range
We're running.
with a little bit of soul and a little bit of style.
I want to know what women feel about a different kind of truth, Roth's stuff like that, because I know my wife cringes.
Did any women buy it? I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
my wife cringes, and she likes, 78 to 84 David Lee Roth, but she says this guy, that's just some old guy named Dave Roth. It's like, she cringes when she hears the whole talking, like that type of stuff. She's like, oh my God, turn that off. It's creepy.
But if you notice the lyrics, he doesn't do like 25-year-old Dave. He's definitely doing an older Dave, the
sure.
content, Chinatown and all the other things. Like I've been
The
rich. and I've been
storyteller,
poor.
Dave.
Yeah, I love I've been rich and I've been poor. Rich is better, totally better. Fucking awesome.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
exactly
not saying I dislike like somebody mentioned, Grant Fisher said, I told you I was coming back. Clever
good
as
to
shit.
see Grant.
Turn my headphones up. Turn, he says to turn the headphones up and please. Like that's awesome. Like shit like that is why Dave is him.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I'm just saying, older Dave Roth to me is like, some of the stuff is like, oh God.
For you guys that don't know, Grant Fisher is old school. He goes all the way back to the old Van Halen mailing list. He's in Australia.
No shit.
And yeah, Grant has been there since day one, and knows just about everything we know, if not more. That guy knows what's going on. So
G'day, Grant.
welcome to the chat, Grant.
Man, the Australians hold the torch. Definitely.
They know their rock, man. They do not
They
screw
do,
around.
man.
I know I'm shitting on Roth here, but somebody mentioned, I'm sorry, I missed it. Renus Pinkle says it's the right time. What a song that could have been. Sammy butchers that song. I think those 3 songs that they came out with during the 04 before the 04 reunion, those songs
not as memorable as the newer Roth ones. You know,
the newer Roth ones are actually good songs, especially
man.
EY's
Up
Magic.
for Breakfast. What was it? Up for Breakfast and
Oh God, Up for Breakfast. I
About
feel
Time.
they're all right. I liked them. About Time. About Time was another one that kind of.
it's the right time to me. Sammy already had that melody ready to go and just slapped it on top of that chorus. And to me, it's like, oh my God, it just doesn't work.
Well, and again, it's
Sammy guy, you know.
And again, it's difficult. A lot like when I use the analogy, it's difficult to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers in their 60s. It's difficult to see David Lee Roth in his 60s on an inflatable microphone. Like credit
surfing across the audience.
Yeah. Credit where credit is due. At least the lyrical content on A Different Kind of Truth. He understood that a 50-something, 60-something-year-old guy singing this stuff
Stay Frosty
is ridiculous. So he came up. Yeah, so he came up with some other stuff that was equally immature, but at least it was immature in a non-salacious way. Like there's nothing salacious about A Different Kind of Truth. There's nothing about that, you know.
And I do like the lyrics. I'm not saying I don't, but I'm just saying when he talks a certain way, that low thing, it's
creepy.
like
Creepy.
It's a little
wicked ways.
Yeah, gimmicky.
You want to play with me? Let's play.
Dance the night away.
Dance the night away. And it's all, and it sounds like he hasn't drank in like a week, and like
it is creepy.
Yeah, I got a question there from Renus Pinkle that I was wondering if why am I doing this? If Nerd Halen was,
it sounds better. That's why you do it, because it sounds good.
There's kids.
is wondering if Nerd Halen was going to cover any Adcot songs, and we haven't done any. And if I was going to do one, I like Out of Space a lot. I also wanted to do a medley of Ice Cream Man and
Stay Frosty.
That would be sick. That's something I wish they'd done. And in fact, I remember sending messages to Wolf like, you have to do a medley of these 2 songs, and they never did it. But
yeah, but let's face it, when they kick into Stay Frosty and that thing finally punches you like Ice Cream Man did, it's like you get that on the back of your neck. You're like, oh, this is everything I love about this band.
Sure.
It might be like of all the songs on that album, because I remember loading that fucker up at 9 p.m. On the night of 2/6, 12 or whatever when it came out. I was right there waiting when it dropped, and they'd already played like clips. I remember I couldn't stay away from the clips, but I wanted to. I couldn't stay away from them, but I wanted to.
I know.
See, this is when what I do for a living is fucking awesome, because I had that record a week before everybody else.
Yeah.
And couldn't play it. Like I couldn't play it for anybody else. I was like, oh, and I was at Henson Studios, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like that's why I got into what I do, so that I could get music before everybody else.
But yeah, of all the songs, that song was the one where where you got like kind of emotional, like they're fucking back. There they are.
Yeah.
Well,
it was cool.
Sonically, that record, I think the best sounding instrument on that album is the bass.
Yeah, Wolf made his debut, and that was he proved himself on that album.
Yeah, and I always thought the vocals were too loud on that record. It was way too.
Well, everything is too loud. The record itself, like if you take the Van Halen catalog and you put it in your player and hit shuffle, as soon as it goes to
Carnal Knowledge is the loudest, I would think.
No, A Different Kind of Truth is really the loudest.
Loud.
Carnal Knowledge is the best sounding record.
Yeah,
Carnal Knowledge is the best sounding record.
The best recording of
it is loud though. It's like up at like plus 5 decibels on the.
But no, A Different Kind of Truth is just it's
sure.
The compression war there.
It makes sense because that record was 8 years ago, and that's to today's standards. All those older records, when they get remastered for the compilations, they're way louder than they are in the other records.
Yeah. As
Right,
is a great song. Metal Mike, As is a great song.
Yeah.
Yep, As is great. But I just think, Eddie's guitar tone is it's like a buzzsaw on that album.
Yeah, it's his new sound, and it's just way too dirty, and there's nothing, nothing sets him apart with that tone. Like, he used to be set apart with his tone. Like,
Was
no one
that the
sounded
sound
like
of the 5153 or
Yeah, that's his new amp, but it's
at the time? Yeah, that was.
it's
a
way too
little-
gainy. There's too
Mhm.
much gain. He's hiding behind gain.
Well, not
Like,
necessarily that, too. I mean, let's face it. Your ears at 60 are not the same as they are when you're at 30. You don't hear.
Have a producer and an engineer to say, "Hey, Ed, we got to
Yep.
cut some of this out, man." It's
Yep. But you can't tell Eddie Van Halen what to do. So your ears are different than they were 30 years ago. So you hear things differently.
Well,
Certain
it's-
frequencies don't come in the same way. And
It's a great point, because he sounds the way he does, and you wonder,
It's the evolution.
If
That's
you
where
listen to Tokyo Dome, you're like, what?
yeah.
What?
No, I mean, listen to the 98 shows. Like, if you go back to that Australian show that they put on MTV, Eddie's guitar tone is just so dimed everywhere. Like, there's no tone in it. It's just
Well,
and even
starting
on
in
the
90, 95, 96, that was.
Yeah, and the 2007
Balance, yeah.
tour, the 2007 tour was awful. His tone was awful live. It was white noise. Like, how like when you walk away from a show after a show and you get that tinnitus for the last half hour of the show when you're walking through
Mhm.
the parking lot going back to your car. That was what it was like for 2 hours on stage.
all night and into the
Yeah.
next morning.
I
Yeah.
still have that. My
I'm
ears
still
have
here, get it.
my ears have done that for 10 years.
Yeah. But
That's
Eddie's
never gone away.
Eddie's
Pete
tone in that
Townsend.
2007 tour is responsible for a lot of that. It was
Mhm.
awful.
Yep.
And I love the guy, but that tone, I mean, let's face it, his tone was bad at
Well,
that point.
it's a shame because that guy he's always been known for his tone. Moan
Right.
for the tone,
Yeah. I think For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge is the first time you could hear a bass on a Van Halen record. Like,
Ted Templeman, baby.
Oh,
the
the
mix.
earlier. I think the first two you could hear Mike pretty well. The
To
first-
me,
at least the first two.
on 5150, I hear the bass fine on that album, man.
No, I would. Yeah, like starting in '82, I don't think you could really hear the bass from that point until probably Carnal Knowledge. It's
The
not
bass
on-
was
Oh, you wait, 1-2. Forget it. I mean,
Oh God,
the bass was
50.
completely overmodulated on Fair Warning, so Templeman pulled it down
And So This Is Love, yeah.
and left it.
Yeah,
God
you
love
can,
it
you can
down.
hear it. Yeah, you can.
God love him for it.
But carnal knowledge, everything is bass heavy. The entire
Yeah.
record is bass.
Well, I think the whole
Well,
record is the V. It's the classic.
Oh, it's just
V.
it's a mix. I mean, it's that classic. Yeah, I mean, Al's tone was completely like Bonham. I mean, with the
That's
Andy Johns.
Perfect.
You know.
Andy Johns.
Yeah.
don't
Anything
know.
that he does is going to get a good drum tone.
to me, the perfect, like, I think, and I've said this before, guys, but 84 in my mind, when I hear that record, that's like the most unique.
It
It's
is
the
unique.
It's the perfect blend of the rawness of the older records and the processed, of the newer records. You know what I mean? Not the newer, but like when Sammy got in the band.
Like I said, go back and listen to that with headphones, 84 with headphones, and really and listen to the drum tracks and the cymbal tracks, and it's interesting. It's an interesting mix the way they went about it because
Eddie's guitar
because of the
tone.
limitations they had,
Eddie's guitar tone.
and then Ed too.
Oh,
As well. I mean, all of it.
like I said, it's like modern, but also raw at the same time. It's the
Mhm.
perfect blend.
But it was, I mean, and I would assume it was probably built with like tape splicing and that kind of stuff. I mean, back in the day, I mean, for 84, I mean, I know a couple of the songs they did straight ahead, like Hot for Teacher. I mean, Caleb's
Some of that
favorite,
doesn't even relate to what Jay was saying.
oh, well,
Just let him go, man. It's like,
just let me go. Yeah. So, well, talking about the production of it, I thought it's
because I was afraid to say something. I'm like, maybe he is talking about something that I'm talking about, but I'm too dumb to know what he's talking about.
No,
Yeah,
Right.
man.
talking about tape splicing has nothing to do with,
I
with
know.
what you were saying.
Yeah.
But
Anyway.
no, I know what you're saying about that.
No, I'm still a believer. I'm still a believer as goes Alex Van Halen, so goes the record. If Alex is engaged and his tone is good and he's driving the song the right
See,
way, Eddie responds.
that's why my opinion, and this is gonna mess with people's minds. Diver Down is my favorite Van Halen sounding record. Sounding. Not the content.
You can argue with it.
The sound of that record, the sound of the band, because it's also very raw. They're in the room. There's barely any, reverb on that record. If you listen to Where Have All the Good Times Gone, just listen to the tone, his guitar tone, and that Alex's snare. It's perfect on that record for me.
I like Diver Down. I'm one of the few people that thinks Diver Down is a great record, start to finish. Start to finish.
I don't care about the covers. I love it.
Was that record done really, really fast?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they put out Perduman first. That became a hit, and then they had
Perduman?
They had to put out a record for that.
They released a single, and then they got a call like, you guys, we're at number 18 already. Like, you guys got to have a record. So they went back
and also, I mean, the stories we've heard from Fair Warning where Ed would take, Ed and would go into the studio late at night.
Don Landy.
And Don Landy would go in and really take a lot of time and put a lot of
splice tapes.
And splice tapes and put it in.
Well, you can.
I mean, that compared 1980 Fair Warning compared to Diver Down. I mean, even it was almost like taking a step back because they went just in the studio raw, like Caleb was saying.
No,
guitar.
78, 79 stuff.
Diver Down is raw. It's very raw.
Yeah. Listen to
Little Guitars in the
High.
Full Bug. Little Guitars in the Full Bug might be two of my favorite Van Halen songs of all time.
Oh, they're great.
And Hang 'em High is just as right up there with Hot for Teacher for like greatest
Last Night.
three
One
instrument
take.
one take.
Yeah, Last
pass.
Night. Yeah, like if you listen to something like the Full Bug, it's just the way Eddie is pinching off those harmonics and they're grooved. Like it's almost like he and Alex are in their world, and somebody was lucky enough to be rolling tape at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine being a drummer, right? And you get to the studio to record your record, and they're like, "Hey, the drum room isn't big enough for your full kit, so we're going to record the shells separately from the cymbals." Like,
Well, that was 84, wasn't it?
yeah, we're a huge band, and just because you build your studio,
Now
I
Jay's
gotta
off top.
play half a kit twice. I'd be like, "How about this? I'm going to another studio. We'll track the drums. We'll bring the tapes back to 5150."
That's why it's hard. That's why
I
you
can't
need to talk to
believe-
Greg about that.
I can't believe that album is done like that. I cannot believe
It is hard to believe it.
I find it really hard to believe that.
Didn't they redo the drum room after that
Yes.
later on?
Yes.
For 50, I think in 5150
Yeah, but if
but
you
he
look at
switched
that,
to all electric.
Like
But if
before
you-
0812.
Before he had the majority of the kit was electric too.
but if you look at that video when they did the radio promotion from 5150, that drum room is still small.
Yeah.
Like he's still cramped in there.
Mm-hmm. Well, it wasn't. They built the expansion, I think, after they recorded 84. He put an expansion on, and I think that was probably the room.
Wasn't it a racquetball court?
No, but
Was
that radio promo was in like it was right around the time of the live record,
Yeah.
93. So.
Yeah, that room was built, I guess, after.
Won't Get Fooled Again. That,
But it's still cramped though. Like if you look at Alex in there, it's still not the biggest room
No,
in
it's
the
not
world.
a big drum
But
room.
you can fit a full drum set in there.
That's what Andy John said when they recorded Carnal Knowledge, is that Alex wanted the big drum room of Bonham and Led Zeppelin. That room was not built like that, so they had to do a lot with reverbs and delays and stuff to get the drums to sound like it was recorded in a huge room.
Well, to be fair though, Andy Johns also recorded Zeppelin when Bonham was in a hallway with a high ceiling.
At a school.
Yeah, I mean, and
Headley Grange.
and hung rooms, hung mics in other parts of the room, as well as up next to the kick drum and next to the snare. So
Yeah.
he got a lot of ambient room noise that you just can't get in a room of that size.
That's what I'm saying. So he had to get do a lot with reverbs and delays as opposed to natural room noise. But
Yeah.
I mean, you got to get all that. You try to get that reverb and all that stuff post production, and no matter how many times you try to digitally produce it, it's not the same as room ambient noise.
nothing's as good as a real room.
Right.
Really, I mean, you can fake your way through a lot of stuff. But I mean, in heavy metal, the room mics aren't as needed. But when you're that wide open rock, look at that.
That's not that big a room.
No, it's not. So I don't
And there's no baffling. Like look at around the room. There's a lot of glass.
It's tiled floor too.
Well,
Yeah,
the top
I mean-
floor is normal. That's any studio is going to be tile.
But there's not a whole lot of baffling hung there. I mean, you would think that corner would have been baffled. You would have think that those glass doors would have at least had some sort of egg crate or something on them, so you don't get any of that slap back.
Still using the single kick drum, looks like. And I think only for like a couple of years. I don't even think the '93 tour. I don't think he went out with a
Put two
single.
kick drums in there.
No, I mean that's
You're
probably yeah.
You're gonna have to slide the door open and sit in the other room if you had two kick drums, man. Hey, Andy, my
It
headphones.
wasn't it a racquetball?
Headphones aren't working. Andy,
Andy,
Andy.
do it yourself.
Was that the story that it was a racquetball court before it was a studio?
It certainly looks like it.
Like, yo, the room that they're jamming in is bigger than the drum room.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's 3 of them, so I got to pee and need more beer.
Yeah,
Is that all? Won't get fooled again? Is that what that promo is from?
It's the entire thing.
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
It
I
was
have
a-
that on
with
VHS somewhere.
Yeah, with the interviews
Yeah.
and stuff too.
Yeah.
When they pulled out all the little tapes for like all the local record guys that won like some sort of a radio contest. And Andy Johns is like pulling the names out. Like Andy's probably like, this is what I was hired to do. Be a
Yeah.
monkey for you guys.
Andy, my headphones aren't working.
Andy!
Ed, it's your studio. Figure it out.
I love that it's like, 28, 29 years later, we're talking about this shit.
Man, how many years?
Too many.
The one part, I think it's Dreams. Is it Dreams or no? The last scream, It Won't Get Fooled Again. The look that Mike gives Sammy after he hits it. He's like, oh yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. He friggin' rips it open. And Mike is pumped.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Good save there, Johnny.
Monday.com.
RenusPinkle.com says, wasn't the whole Live Right Here, Right Now record studio recorded with added audio? Oh my God, added audio.
It was a live show that they re-recorded parts too.
Yeah,
but
they probably would have been better off doing it that way. But
They re-recorded the whole.
That's the story that they re-record. I don't know. Did Mike and Al re-record everything? I know Sam re-recorded everything.
It was described as, wait, you're going to do that? Okay, I'm going to do this. Okay, you're going to do that. I got to do this. So it kind of, this being fixed needed that to be fixed.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Sammy got back from vacation, and he's like, they re-recorded the whole fucking thing. So I had to, because his vocals were like swaying out of time, in time, out of time, out of tune, in tune. So he's like, fuck it. And then didn't he say he had the engineer? Well, I guess it would have been Andy at the time, right? He would have probably been still doing it with him.
Somebody else worked on.
Somebody else worked on. Well, whoever it was.
No, it was Andy Johns.
Was it?
Okay. He had him put
he
the
did
video on the monitor, and I think he said he ran through it once or twice and just said, that's it. Use what I put on there and fit it in there. And that was it. He was pissed that they redid it.
Of course it was Andy Johns.
Well, if you want to hear what Andy Johns brings to a session, listen to the Zeppelin records, listen to the Van Halen records, then go back and go on YouTube and look for a band called Detective. And that was a band that was on Swan Song Records right around the same time Bad Company and Led Zeppelin were trying to put out their own record company. And it was Michael DeBar.
Michael.
Yeah, who was on the Power Station, the second Power Station record. And go back and listen to the drums on the first 2 Detective records. Andy Johns engineered those, and you'll listen to it and you go, oh my God, is John Bonham playing for this band? Because Andy has a definite signature tone that he looks for, and he got it with Alex, and it was great. I mean, it was thunderous. I don't believe Alex Van Halen ever sounded better than he did on the For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge record. Although I think the 2 best sounding VH records are Fuck and Balance. Overall.
Balance sonically is the
good.
The kick drum punch, hits you right in the chest on that one.
There you go. Detective put out 2 albums, 2 records, and then a live, like one of those live at the Atlantic Studios albums that was a radio only promo, kind of like what AC/DC has in the Bonfire box set. That was sort of a thing that was going on in the late 70s, that they would do these live satellite broadcasts from the Atlantic Studios, and Detective did one of those as well. And Andy Johns gets an amazing drum sound on those Detective records.
Anybody else remember Live Aid? I know Jay doesn't, but
Yeah, I have the DVD collection right over there.
When the Power Station played and it wasn't Robert Palmer, and some of
It was him.
It was him. It was Michael DeBar.
I know. I'm getting to that. Some of us, that was our first
line before the joke. No,
that was our first, viewing of Michael DeBar, and for me, it was just like, wow, sad. I mean, he didn't bring it that day. Not for me. And those were some of the biggest songs of the year that year. Like
that Power Station record is awesome.
Yeah, Get It On, Bang a Gong, and
Some Like It Hot.
Some Like It Hot. Were just
dude, that song gets stuck in my head all the friggin' time.
It's so good.
It's
that record is
a great song, man.
Nile Rodgers for the win.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so when they got up and did that version with that lineup, you were like, "Whoa, yee."
Yeah,
it kind of killed them.
I don't see them on here.
Power Station. The same.
See, they didn't even make it on there.
Yeah, I don't think they made it on the DVD. Nile Rodgers is on there.
There's a song on that first Power Station record called "Murderous" that is fucking outstanding. Really well done.
Is it the first?
It's the third track on the record. "Murderous," yeah.
On the first album or the second one?
First album.
Oh, because their second one came out like 15 years later.
Yeah, I have that too.
Yeah,
Run DMC played on.
"Murderous" is good. It has that saxophone.
Yeah,
and the choruses. Yeah.
"Living in Fear" is the second record.
I know my Power Station. You guys.
There you go. Nice job. That was a big record. And then of course Andy Taylor ripped off, Bang a Gong for his "Take It Easy" song. They put out that solo record
for that movie.
And the video had Janet Jones in it.
Mm-hmm. Mrs.
The Van Halen connection. Yeah.
Power Station.
What's the Van Halen connection?
She's one of the girls in Hot for Teacher.
No.
Yeah. She's one of the teachers, one of the random teachers.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Say it ain't so.
Nope.
Caleb's calling you out.
All right, Here we go.
No. I remember the Flamingo Kid, and I remember that woman. I remember that woman, and she was not in that video.
There we go.
I don't know, but I can't talk anymore. I'm getting yelled at.
Johnny's getting yelled at.
Uh-oh.
It's not even 3 o'clock yet. You got 2 minutes. Tell her to.
Tell her. Feed the world. Don't forget to feed the world.
I take that back.
Feed the world.
Inadvertent crediting. My apologies.
Yeah, the only connection that Janet Jones has to Van Halen is Vitas Gerulaitis.
Ooh.
Okay.
For the
only connection.
For the ad with he and Andre and Eddie.
Well, yeah.
The magazine ad.
Well, and plus, Vitas had one of the striped Kramers.
Right.
It was given to him.
The Vitas Gerulaitis.
By Eddie, and then the only connection again would be Eddie's and Wayne Gretzky's birthday, which are the same day. Nerd Halen. Nerd Halen.
That is nerd, man.
Nerd Halen.
That's why. Lillian Mueller played the teacher.
Yeah, it's Lillian Mueller.
Lillian?
Yeah, no.
To be fair.
Yes, no, I remember exactly where I was when I saw the Flamingo Kid and I saw that woman get out of the pool. So I remember.
Phoebe Cates?
Yeah, she was not in that video. No, the Flamingo Kid. Have you seen that movie, John?
Years ago. I'm sure I've seen it.
All right. Well,
I was just thinking getting out of the pool was Phoebe Cates.
Shrinkage.
Check that
That
shit
too,
out.
yeah.
Check that shit out.
By the way, the Janet Jones movie we're talking about is American Anthem
Yeah.
Yes.
with Mitch Gaylord,
With Mitch Gaylord.
who was a phenomenal gymnast, not much of an actor.
No. No, in fact, he should have just done the stunts.
He should have been Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, there wasn't an American Anthem 2. and there wasn't a Mitch
I think
Gaylord.
there was.
Oh, really? There wasn't a Mitch Gaylord 2.
I think there was.
American Anthem. What was American Anthem?
Hold on a second. I got to hear that again. Hold on. Where's the rewind button here? Here we go.
There wasn't an American Anthem 2. And there wasn't a Mitch
I think there
Gaylord.
was.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Let's see that. And it's the replay.
In slow motion.
I love Remember that from Ace Ventura when he does the walking backwards thing and sits down? Oh, it's the best, man.
Yeah.
Anybody doing anything exciting on a here in South Carolina, it's gonna be like 80 tomorrow.
It's gonna be it's gonna be warm here
80.
too. 70s.
Well, 80 and probably humid, Paul. You're lucky enough to have that dry heat, so you don't sweat.
138.
I got bad news for you, Jay. And as horrible as this comment will be, Auschwitz was a dry heat. Dry heat is fucking bad. If you don't think dry heat is bad, turn your oven up to 150 degrees, open the door, and stick your head in it.
Oh, it's bad.
Dry heat sucks. It bakes you immediately. It's like
My oven
like
doesn't
slapping,
go that low.
It's like slapping your lips on a frying pan.
Well, we did
It burns your nose.
Ozfest ran through Phoenix, and it was the only show on that whole tour where the bus generator stopped working because it was so hot. And it was bad, man. But it definitely is different. Like,
Yeah, you walk outside when it's 112 degrees out and take a breath, like take a deep breath, and your nose hairs like crunch. It's bad.
I mean, the only benefit is I don't get swamp ass.
Yeah, well, there's that. But your eyes dry out, your nose dries out, your throat dries out. It's not fun.
No, but it also sucks when it's humid, and I get out of the shower. I get out of the shower and start sweating if it's humid out, man. It's the worst.
Yeah, when I lived in Louisiana, it was like that.
Johnny, can you play that without sound? What I just sent to you, Messenger.
Is it on YouTube?
Yeah.
No.
Let me look at it because you can't play video within video because even they'll find it.
Ooh,
And then what'll happen?
They'll possibly take the video down.
Oh, no.
What's that noise?
But Jason,
Hey, what was that? Boom, ba-doom, boom, ba-doom, ba-doom, boom, ba-doom, 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 doom, 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 ba-doom, da-doom. Remember that one?
Is that the Breeders?
Yeah,
Yeah, Cannonball.
it's a great song, man.
That's a good song.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember living in
Play that one.
living in Louisiana, you could open the door like in your home and look outside and see the humidity, like the bubbling of the air.
Oh.
And I imagine it's like that in South Carolina.
The bubbling of my belly.
What do you think, Johnny?
No, because it's a commercial movie.
Yeah.
So no, yeah, somebody's filming their screen. Oh, that's the scene you're talking about.
What would it have been? What would it have been, Caleb?
Oh,
Describe it.
It's the pool scene from Flamingo Kid.
We can put it in the Discord.
And then in the Discord.
Here, John B. I'll
In the
put this.
Dick's cord.
Well, you got it. Just link it and put it in there. He sent it to you. I don't have it.
Yeah, all of a sudden, John Biel's like, "What am I, your bitch?"
What is this? My show?
I mean, I could look it up, but I'm not going to do that.
I'll research it, but I'm not going to post it.
I'm sure you already have this.
On VHS, and it's worn out in that spot.
I do have the VHS of
The auto tracking goes great.
You get the little gray flex.
wildlife.
Can you do that?
Oh, don't do it. No.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that
Oh,
Why can't he do that?
because I'll get an email in the morning.
Why can't this be loved?
You
Why?
can't-
It's
It's
funny
like-
when I did McNamara's show, he doesn't think twice about just playing videos
Right.
and like music from licensed material and stuff.
Mhm.
And by the time the show was over, he had already gotten like 4 or 5 different copyright
Oh, yeah.
notices.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah.
And he's in Japan and they're still getting him.
Yep. They don't. Yeah.
Don't mess
Unbelievable.
around.
God forbid we should promote your product.
Okay. I put it in the Discord. I think. Yeah, there it is. It's in the Discord. Well, yeah. I think it's
Oh God. Where's mine at?
Can
Ooh.
you put a
Mine's
freeze
flat.
frame up or no?
Well, mine's. Caleb wants us to see this.
Dude.
it's in the Discord.
Caleb, put a link into a text and just send it to us.
The great one got that.
Oh no, Janet Jones. Look, they lived here for a long time. Paulina Gretzky is a legend
Yes.
here in Phoenix. Paulina Gretzky is on a scale of 1 to 10 a strong 14.
Mhm.
She is no. I don't know if John Biel, have you ever seen Paulina Gretzky?
I can't
There's
say
your
I have.
Google-
I probably
there's your-
maybe I have, but
There's your Google when we get
remember.
off the air.
All right.
And you might want to have some tissues and
My
Vaseline
homework.
nearby.
My homework.
Is
I'll be
midnight
prepared.
West
I'll
Coast
make sure I'm prepared, Paul.
boner
Just
hour now?
As good looking as Janet Jones is, Paulina is that much hotter.
As good looking as Wayne is.
Something to look forward to.
Imagine Janet Jones, as hot as she is, with a nose like this.
Imagine Wayne Gretzky with a wig on.
Imagine Wayne Gretzky with a great ass.
Oh
Wow.
my God.
All right, we got to end the show now.
Really?
You gotta go.
On that?
What the hell is that?
I can't talk.
Yeah, you're not allowed.
Am I getting texted?
Well,
I sent it to you.
Okay.
thank you,
I
Caleb.
got sexted is what just happened. Caleb Rappaport.
By the way, Janet still looks great today. Still looks fantastic. The one that, Gretzky had a piece of the ownership and upper management of the
piece of the
Coyotes
what?
here for a while. Yes.
What?
Management and ownership of the Coyotes for a while. So they lived right here.
Mm-hmm.
And Paulina was big in Scottsdale in the bars.
Nice.
What's were big?
In prison?
Huh? What just happened? We're talking about Mother Teresa and the chat there. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, no, the chat got ugly.
Gretzky women are beautiful. Yeah, she's no angel. All right.
None of you are.
Well, we good?
Are we leaving? Okay. You want to read some names, John?
Sure. Oh, executive producers for tonight. Thank you, Charles
Wait,
Green.
read them differently. Like read it like Green Mike,
You want me to read it?
John.
Yes.
Does Caleb
in
want to
creepy
do it?
voice. Caleb in creepy voice.
You want to play?
Who
Executive.
produced us tonight?
Executive producers: Charles Green, Mike Neese, Rossi Johnston, Connor
Rossi?
Johnson. No relation. Music Therapy Laz.
There's a T.
Oh, Connor Johnson, 5150. Sorry.
Johnston.
Johnston.
No, that's
Robbie
Rossi
Johnson.
Johnston. Come on.
Robbie,
Robbie
not Ronnie,
Johnston.
not Rossi.
You want to play?
Don
Oh,
John.
Robbie.
Martini
Sorry.
and Rossi.
Sorry, I'm looking out of the side of my glasses and it looks like S's.
Captain Michael Smith, David Ennis, and some Dave dude.
I like
Thank
some
you.
Dave dude. That's great.
It's just some Dave dude. I heard of
Some
that guy.
Dave. Some
Oh,
Dave.
wait.
dude.
There's more.
Who was it? Who was it?
Oh,
Some Dave.
thank you to our channel members: Charles Green, Lenny Lou, Fruitcake Tony, Bo Zeke, Charlie S. What's the S stand for, Charlie? Robbie Johnston, Mike Neese, False Flag, Mickey Settlemeyer, David Ennis, Joe Christian, and the Captain, Michael Smith. Johnny Bean TV.
There's more.
Thank you to our channel
There's
members.
more.
Thank
There's
you to our channel
25 of them.
Longest credits ever.
Let's read this out. Hellface, Thomas Santiago, some dude Dave, or some
Again.
Dave,
We already gave him credit.
Again.
Fender Guru, James Gum, Music Therapy Laz again, Mr. PHP Jr.
Bruce.
Is that Bruce? Ghost BC Rich, Hugh Caldwell, Farag 51,
There you go. Nice.
Jim Nicholas, Frank Corcoran, and
Corcoran.
Connor Johnson 5150, Johnny Bean TV. Next week on the show, the Johnny Bean Show will be talking with Greg Renoff, the world acclaimed writer of Van Halen Rising and his new offering, Ted Templeman, a platinum producer's life in music. Greg Renoff, next Friday night, right here on Johnny Bean TV.
It's a very special Johnny Bean TV.
On May 8th. May 8th is also what day in Van Halen lore? Give it to
May
me.
8th.
Don't
Give
Google
it
it.
to the chat. Google it.
It's
It's
a
an easy. It's an easy.
It's a birthday of a Van Halen member, and his name
Do
is
I have to
Alex
answer?
Van Halen. No,
Well, he's Johnny's highlighted me. So
Well, Amanda said she just got pregnant. I wonder if she was doing that move you were
wow.
mimicking before.
Like just
Good job,
got
Caleb.
pregnant? Like right now?
Yeah, from Caleb's voice.
Oh, God.
Wow, look at him.
Well,
That's empower. That's empower.
No,
right
I'm
there.
pregnant. John Biel, keep drinking that. I'm getting.
All I know is somebody's getting pregnant.
Oh, it's my turn. It's my turn.
If I knew it was going to
because
be
of
that kind
Billy.
of party, I'd put my
Because of
dick in the
this guy.
mashed potatoes.
Well, thanks everyone for watching tonight. We had fun. I had fun.
Get a fun.
Can't you tell? I had a lot of fun tonight.
we had a lot of fun, everybody.
It was funny. Is
And it was
earlier
John Biel's.
somebody earlier was giving John
Mhm.
Biel a hard time. Like, who's the pinup on your screensaver?
He's got the drill there. Yeah, what was the drill
yeah.
pick?
He's got the drill.
And fantastic hair.
Billy can drill like anybody.
Billy Sheehan.
Well, you saw I threw it in there last night on the rapid fire to drill or not to drill. How about that?
Oh yeah, yeah. If you haven't checked out last night's show, go back and watch that. Jay Hannon had some great questions.
Jay looked very relaxed last night. He was like sitting back.
You
he's
guys-
got his
you
hands
all were.
crossed.
I was
like-
nervous.
Jay was like, ain't nothing but a thing.
No, I was,
Talking one of the best bass players I've ever.
you know, I talked to Caleb about this today, and I told him, I said, dude, and maybe we would mention it last night, man, is that like there's time, like he's so nice that there's times when he's telling a story that you all of a sudden you don't pay attention because you're thinking this guy's nice as shit. You stop listening to what he's telling you because you're blown away for the by his personality and the fact that he like is just super cool. And you're like, oh, shit, what was he just talking about?
Yeah.
And you find yourself listening to arguably one of the three best bass players in metal history.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And you can't believe that you're in that moment talking to this guy
Mhm.
and that he's that regular.
Yeah, the passion that he still has after, and I didn't realize he's 67 years old. I don't know if we mentioned
Yeah.
it before,
Wow.
but with the career that he's had, the fact that he came on a show, like he talked about, he was on something that was 3,000 people watching, He's played arenas and all this huge stuff. And he comes on our show and just, it's like, it still felt like, and it seemed like it was, but
hanging out in his garage. I mean,
but
he says it all.
It
was so cool.
Gave a shit,
Welcome to the Johnny Beane game show.
This interview, blah blah blah. No, he was passionate about everything, very like inspirational, and just man, it was awesome. I still can't get over how great it was last night.
And that's why people continue to support everything that Billy Sheehan is involved in, is because he's still a regular person. He still comes across as genuine. It doesn't seem like any of this is beneath him. Yeah. And he understands that he's still at 67. Look, he's done. He could easily just sit back and rest on his accolades, and yet he's still out there doing this stuff on a Friday night on the internet with, a show that is not, some network radio program
for 3+ hours.
Stone. Yeah. I mean, the fact that a guy like that would spend that kind of time makes you sit there and like the amount of marketing, like everybody that watched that show is going to come away from it going, oh my God, Billy Sheehan is awesome. And you can't buy that kind of press.
Joshua Jones in the chat. Hey, Josh.
What's up, Josh?
One of the futures of rock stars.
We all know, we've seen, what it is. Joshua Jones has it.
Yes.
He has it.
This guy.
Well, one of my goals is not goals, but I'm already doing a record with Cameron Brown. I want to do Josh's record when he does it.
Mm-hmm.
The kid is uber talented.
Yep.
Yes.
As long as you stop FaceTiming me at friggin' 3 a.m. 5:30 a.m. I should say. If it was 3 a.m., it's fine. I'm either just going to bed or rubbing one out, or getting close to it.
Right. Sure. Yeah. Got to get rid of that vape pen, kid. Got to get rid of that vape pen. Douche flute. Got to stop that. Put your finger.
Douche.
Got to put your fingers back on that neck. Take them off from around
our
that.
Sponsors. Douche flute.
You just got to mount it. You got to mount it to the headstock.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Put it up there. Yeah, put it up there. Like,
What year is that 7 string?
What flavor?
All right.
All right.
Take us out.
We're trying to get out of here.
Comes
Next
the
time,
music.
Josh. We'll see you next time, man.
No, bring Josh in. We'll all leave.
Josh, take us home.
Just play.
Yeah, just get out here and play for 10 minutes. Screw it.
Right?
By the way, I think the number is 9 or 11.
Nice.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Never forget.
Good night. It's a good night.
And
All right.
I thought we were done.
Thank you, folks.
Roll the credits, Johnny.
thanks,
Play us
everybody.
out.
We did the executive producers.
Executive producers. Charles. I'm just kidding.
If you read it twice, they got to pay twice. That's it.
Next week, Greg Granoff. Next week. Thanks, everybody. I have a blast doing this. I love all the people in the chat. Love the guys on the air. This is awesome. Live for this.
Thanks, Caleb.
Caleb is the best voiceover guy on this show.
Oh, come on.
Aside from Neanderthal.
No. I defer. What the hell was that?
That's scary.
John, that's not me. That's not me. That's Jay with his Halloween sound machine.
We were trying to catch John rubbing one out to that picture of Billy.
Right? It does look like a woman there, huh?
Looks like Sally Kellerman.
Just like a woman.
Ain't it just?
All right.
Thank you, Billy.
What are you even drinking over there, dude?
What am I drinking?